Philadelphia.
Independent.
Black media.
The views and opinions expressed by the guests, listeners, and hosts of any program on WURD Radio do not necessarily reflect those of ownership, management, or advertisers of this station.
Welcome to the Envy McKee Show. Oh, girl, I'm so extra.
Let's take a breath here. I want you to get a real feel even before I say anything. I just want you to allow for your awareness to be captured by a feeling tonality that all is well. I want it to be captured by an awareness that everything is for you and nothing is against you. I want you to begin to allow yourself to be aware that you're inundated by a presence.
Star people come down.
Sufi woman, you're a lion, but you walk around so unassuming.
There's something about you that is divine. There's something about your life that is divine, and that becomes the law of your life.
Levine House, Star people. This is a safe space.
Ooh, I'm telling these tears go and fall away, oh.
To learn, share, and grow.
May the last one burn into flames.
Come get free.
Freedom, freedom, where are you? 'Cause I need freedom too. I break chains, hey. 'Cause a winner don't quit on themselves.
We're modern mystics.
Okay, ladies, now let's get information.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to
The Star Folk University.
Go, we can talk about the universe.
Star people come down. We are preparing. The Woo Woo Metaphysical Studio is always popping.
Plus, you got a glow unlike any other I've seen. Chalk that up to the melanin.
We are dedicated to love.
Love God herself.
That is living our vision every day.
Introducing first, Envy McKee.
and the Woo Woo Core crew, DJ Frosty Phoenix and Martin the Man.
That black yo magic, my magic. That black yo, look at that black yo, hitting me with all of that melanin. Hocus, baby.
Sufi woman, you go see the goddess in love.
Star Folk Woman.
On WURDradio.com.
Thank you for being here.
Welcome to the Envy McKee Show. Envy McKee, DJ Frosty Phoenix, Martin the Black Man. My name is Envy McKee, and welcome to Star Folk University. Listen, there's been a lot going on. So, as we often do, we have a big, beautiful bodacious show planned for you tonight. It is first Friday of March. Yes, but what we're going to do right now is take attendance, as we often do. Hold on. My John. Oh, my Jesus. The Black Man,
Yes.
a.k.a. our Dean of
Here.
Questions and Healthy Skepticism. Are you here, sir?
In attendance. Yes.
DJ Frosty Phoenix on the ones and twos. Oh, Jesus. Like, for whatever reason, I cannot log into my my email. And you get really used to reading your little script. Well, that's me. I'm used to reading my little script. And because I don't have it in my face, I act like I don't know what's on it. Anyway. Eric Nixon, a.k.a. DJ Frosty Phoenix on the ones and twos, a.k.a. our Dean of On-Air Music Fellowship and keeping this shit together. Are you here, sir? See, I know that by heart.
Yeah, present.
My name is Emily McKee. I'm the founder of this year's Starfolk University, and I'm the Dean of Mystical Exploration and Spiritual Anthropology. If you're new to this class, welcome. Hi, so hi. We're glad that you're here. Yes. It is no show without you. Who's that? If you'd like to join us in the Metaphysical Studio, well, today, because it's First Friday, is technically the Metaphysical Lab, but we'll go with studio. You can reach us by calling 215-634-8065 or 866-361-0900. If you want to find out why we say Levine Heil in the beginning of the show, I didn't even say Levine Heil at the beginning of the show. I just said, what's up? Well, maybe I did. Did I say Levine Heil, Star People?
No.
I didn't. Well, maybe I should say that. Levine Heil, Star People. Welcome to the Anthony McKee Show, a.k.a. Starfolk University, the onlyest on-air school for modern mystics. So there. Now I said it. If you're wondering why we say Levine Heil, if you're wondering what any of that means, if you're like, is that a new language? It is. And you can find out all about it by reading the Stellar Trilogy, which is a book series that I have wrote. It is what I call soul-fi, which is sci-fi that nourishes and feeds the soul. And if you're interested in, learning about how this coursework got started, why we decided we're going to do a whole entire show on spiritual literacy and spiritual liberation, and have this beautiful, what we call a shift prompt every month that shifts as we do, evolves as we do, you can read the Stellar Trilogy. It will give you a nice foundation of, a lot of our little inside jokes and whatnot. Okay? So, as I mentioned, this is March. We're now made it to March, yes. And it's weird because we're nearly in the, we're nearly at a year since this pandemic got really real. Because I know it started in January, but folks weren't really taking this seriously until March. Am I remember that correctly?
The end of March, mid-March, end of March.
Yeah, it was like mid to end, and it was like before things started shutting down and that kind of stuff. So we're in the month.
I said DJ Jazzy Jeff had just got COVID this month.
In March of last year. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So we're working on our 1 year anniversary of not necessarily of COVID, but of COVID's realness in our lives, the shift, if you will, the real shift in our society. When people start to really go, oh, things are changing. Let's go virtual. So how do we feel about that? I really want to process some of that. We have a new shift prompt because it is a new month, and our shift prompt is the art of being first cause. And because we are just now kind of defining the shift prompt, because that's what First Fridays are about, Dr. Dima is on the show. She's in the WURD Metaphysical Studio today. Dr. Dima! Dr. Dima! We also, we're going full livelihood.
That feels like Coming to America.
Right, Coming America has been launched. Comes in today, yes. So it's on Amazon Prime. Prayerfully, we all go and watch it. I don't know if it costs something, but I'm sure it's worth it. Especially if you've been waiting for 20 years, like so many of us, for the sequel to Coming to America.
For real, Eddie Murphy, for real. I said for real, Eddie Murphy, for real, Arsenio, for real. 20 years.
20 years.
You know the process.
In the
I was like, the process
what?
of getting greenlit takes longer than 20 years. It
Not
takes a
for
long
Eddie
time.
Murphy.
For black people.
Literally not for Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy can get anything done. I feel like they just needed to do it now. I think this is the perfect time. Everybody's home. People are motivated. So this hour, we have another livelihood segment that we're going to be doing. We're going to be talking to a career coach, and she is so very dope at what she does with regard to putting you on track with the career that is divine right for you. And her name is Alicia Perkins, and she's coming on the show. She'll be in 7:20. We'll be talking to her for Black Artist Story 365. We are going to be highlighting another dope Black woman trailblazer. We're going to be doing Sister Rosetta Tharpe. We're going to be listening to her. It's a Flashback Friday. Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And like I said, Dr. Najima is going to be in after that. We're going to open the WURD Metaphysical Studio, and we're going to start defining this concept of first cause. Now, what is top of mind for me? And I want to make sure that we are talking about Black women, that we are centering Black women in our conversations throughout all of this month. We understand that is Women's History Month, but as far as I'm concerned, it's Black women's history, present, and future month. So I really want to talk about Black womanhood in a very similar fashion that we talked about Blackness. And Eric was the one that started all, just so that you know, since we're talking about first causes of things, the reason why we started talking about Blackness as a technology is because Eric, DJ Frosty Phoenix on the ones and twos, so astutely pointed out that Black women are a technology. Like that whole concept of Black girl magic, the reason why that can be a thing is because we're looking beyond just the general gorgeousness of Black women. We're looking at the technology that Black women bring to everything. When Malcolm X says the most disrespected woman on the planet is a Black woman, what he's saying is, in essence, this is how I'm taking it, how does the literal womb of all that exists, all of humanity, how does the literal womb of all of humanity get to be in a position where they are so disrespected and degraded? How does that happen? And so I really want to pull those things apart. And so we were going back and forth about what this month's tip prompt was going to be. We were talking through it. And Spirit, I was in one of my classes. For those of you who are new to the class, I take class. So when I come here on this show, I'm not just pulling stuff out of my booty. I'm literally, I'm studying this stuff. I'm studying spiritual literacy at Agape Agape International Spiritual Center. I am studying spiritual literacy, and so I bring.
I'd be cutting you if I was cutting her too, Martin. So that's that's not something I can't do.
She said she's not. I literally don't pull stuff out my booty. I'm like, wait, what?
I'm just saying, like, you know how to. But here's the thing. Spirituality gets a bad rap because it is like. I think just the concept of spirituality is disrespected. You know what I'm saying? People are disrespectful because it's such an esoteric thing. So you literally can, pull anything out of anywhere and say, this is my spirituality. And you know what I'm saying? It's like, but the way you act like I'm telling lies. I'm telling lies.
Nah.
What I'm saying is,
you right. I just wanted to get some clarity on that statement.
I'm just saying. That's journalism. Tell the truth.
101.
So, right? So I'm studying this. I'm studying it from, master teachers who have gone before me. I'm studying the master teachers, and I'm not coming up with, the idea, my philosophy, the philosophy that I follow is, the concept behind new thought is to have a new thought. You know what I'm saying? So I'm studying people who are philosophers and who are mystics and who are master teachers and who are thought tinkerers, people who, are witchy, people who are, Buddha incarnate, people who Christ consciousness, people who, you know, are Ifa, Yoruba, whatever it is. I study the master voodoo, Vodun, you know, all the people who are master teachers and the philosophies that they follow. Those are the people that I'm looking to. And those are the people that I come and we have conversations through in this show. And so it is an open space for wherever you come from. The only thing is you have to be willing to see things differently. That is the crux of this show. And so we're looking at the world right now, and we're looking at a world, you know, we're looking at the anniversary of when COVID got real and when our lives completely changed. You know, it'll be a year this month. And then we're also looking at people who still want to get back to the world that we came from, that we know above and beyond was not respectful of Black women, Black womanhood, Black people, Black ideas, and quite frankly, everybody else too. And the thing about whiteness as a technology that degraded Black people is that it also degraded them. The idea was to lower the bar so low that white people can be transcendent. That was the idea. Let's keep you as low down to the ground as possible so that I don't have to effort. That's all that is. I don't want to do the work, but I want to live a life of luxury or whatever it is, but you're going to do the work. You're going to have the skills. You're going to, you know, elevate this thing so that I can be comfortable. But what comes with that is you can't think anything of yourself, because that will require the raise, and that will require me to do something.
I need to find the clip of that little boy who was like, I don't want to do the work. He was at homeschool, and he's like, I don't want to do the work. And he started preaching or whatever.
Yeah, he was behind his mom.
Yeah. I don't want to do the work.
So what you just described, how old was this little boy?
He was a young man, like 10, 12, yeah.
He's a big kid.
So you're just describing the mental state of a 10-year-old.
If anything, I think he was. I think he was an actor. He's an actor, and thinking like in some shows. So he's at home. It was around the beginning of the pandemic, and he was at home being homeschooled. Not to mention the fact that I think he was in some type of one of the youth shows like on Disney or Nickelodeon, one or two, and you know, so that went viral. I'm trying to my Facebook. But yeah, no, that put me in body.
My point in putting that out was that's the mind of a 10-year-old, and so you talking about a 10-year-old mentality. So listen, here's where we get deep. If Black women are the mother of all humanity, could it be that white folk were really just having a 10-year-old spiritual temper tantrum all this time? Anyway, this is the direction that we're going this month. Our Woo Metaphysical Book Club offering is The Body is Not an Apology by Sonia Renee Taylor. And I'm going to apologize because on the flyer I know on Instagram I spell her name with a J and not a Y. I will fix that. But it is Sonia Renee Taylor. I feel like self-love and looking at our, you know, we're talking about first cause, you know, getting to the place where we recognize who and whose we are and from whence we came, and, you know, being the originators literally in the DNA, in our DNA, in the DNA of Black women is all humanity comes through this. So how would we walk the world if we understood that and we respected ourselves in such a way where we don't let other people, even if it's other Black people, disrespect us?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's you walk different when you realize, whoa. You may not know who you are, but I know who I am, and you need to calm down. You know what I'm saying? I think I feel like this is a powerful conversation to have during Women's History Month. Black women history, present, and future month. I feel like this is a powerful conversation to have. I don't know where the conversation is going to go. We never do. You know us. It starts one place and it ends up somewhere else. But this is just where we're starting. And I also want to talk about, you know, this whole I added in, if you read the stars notes, which comes directly to your mailbox if you sign up at nvmckey.com, it gives you kind of notes of what we're talking about on the show. But also, if you looked at the flyer that we put together, we call it a Starlabus. It talks about what we're working on this week is CREAM, the acronym CREAM, like Wu-Tang. Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar, dollar bills, y'all. Remember that song? But also Prince did a song called Cream. Get on top. I want you to play both of those songs this show, Eric.
Wait,
the cash rules everything around Cream.
You're not trying to mash up Prince.
No, not at the same time. But we can play. We have lots of breaks. He can play one break and play the other break.
He wasn't trying to tell DJ.
No, he is DJ Frosty Phoenix. He can do whatever he wants.
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm just saying.
How is he moving these two turntables in a direction?
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. So anyway, we're going to be looking at this concept of where we are capitalism-wise. You know what I'm saying? Because I know Beyonce dropped, Icy Park. Jay-Z was doing some things. People were getting real excited about.
Last night on Tidal.
Who?
Drake.
Drake did?
Yeah.
Missed that one. Just went right over my head. Shh, bye-bye.
Drake did what?
I'm not. He said Drake dropped an album on Tidal.
The question that remember the
excitement.
Not excited. My question was.
That's the Drake rule, boy. I didn't read this rule right.
Nope. No, you didn't.
I was like,
I respect the brother. I respect the brother, but no, it's not exciting. I respect the brother, but it's not exciting.
I said, Drake. Who?
I said, I heard Drake. I said, did what? You go drop a new album. And it's like, oh.
I didn't hear what he said, and I didn't. I was like, Drake. Oh, Drake.
Now you'll get me excited when you say Kendrick finally came. You would get me excited to say Kendrick Lamar finally came out of retirement or whatever he's in right now.
Wow,
that's how you get my attention.
This is. I'm gonna go ahead and say, hey y'all, these viewpoints are not Martin viewpoints. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying I don't disrespect. I'm not disrespecting the brother. He's got good music.
Version of Twitter Spaces. I'm not trying to get my stuff taken back.
I'm not saying I won't listen to his music. It's just, all right, fine. You know what? Drake's got some new music. Oh my gosh.
Don't play no
That's
Drake.
So dope.
Don't play no Drake on this show. Do not play no Drake. This is not. You know what? You can't. You can play Drake if you fight. I want to see what Drake song you would play on the show.
I don't even know. I don't even think Drake's the vibes of the playlist. No, the playlist of the show's vibes are very different, and the music's chosen for the show is meant to meet the vibes of the show. I don't envision any of Drake's music that I've heard, that I'm aware of, that meets the vibe of the show.
What about the prayer song? No, his music is so it's so weird.
Elevate.
Like his beats will be real fly.
None to set it straight.
He's talking about the one about he giving back to the community, yo. What about that one?
Which one is that?
That's the one I was thinking of. That's the one I was thinking of. But his lyrics be so weird. The beat is real cute.
He doesn't.
And they're real.
He doesn't take a whole song for one message. He'll have a couple of different messages in a song, a handful.
Yeah, and it's real Drakey.
Drakey.
I like Drake songs with Drake though, for real, like.
It's so Drakey.
Do you understand me?
Let's go to break.
What was the Prince song you mentioned before we go to break?
Cream.
Okay.
Cream.
Okay. All right.
But maybe Drake is perfect for this conversation because we're really talking about, the evolution of capitalism. I don't actually want to talk about this.
His title of the song is Scary Hours.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to go pay these bills. When we come back, Alicia Perkins of
I guess in the house
is going to be here, and she is going to tell us everything that we need to know about first cause, like what comes first. Having a proper, business plan, a proper idea of what we want our, careers to be, or the resume, and more than that. We're going to talk about lots of different things. This is the Envy McKee Show. You're not getting me. I'm Envy McKee. That's DJ Frosty Phoenix. That's Martin the Black Man. This is the Envy McKee Show on WURD, 900 AM, 96.1 FM will be black. You're not getting me. You're not getting me.
Hello, entrepreneurs, especially if you're in the food delivery space. CBD is one of the fastest growing health and wellness categories out today. And as it is now legal, you can expand your customer base and increase revenues per ticket by using this as a specialty food offering. CBDmealsdelivered.com is now for sale and would be a perfect website to integrate with your existing food delivery website. Thank you.
Tune into Reality Check, hosted by Charles Ellison, Wednesdays at noon for Tech Life Steph and the latest digital tips of the week. Brought to you by Comcast.
WURD Radio celebrates Women's History Month with the 2021 Level Up Contest. Join us as we embark on a 3-city contest that will highlight Black women-owned businesses who are making a difference in their communities. You can nominate yourself or your favorite Black woman-owned business and enter to win a marketing campaign valued at $5,000. Level Up is a joint production of WURD Radio in Philadelphia, WVON in Chicago, and KJLH in Los Angeles. These 3 Black-owned stations are joining forces to host a historic, interactive, and multimedia contest spotlighting Black women-owned businesses in Philly, Chicago, and Los Angeles. The deadline for submissions is March 15th. Philadelphia finalists will be featured in a special 2-hour live on-air pitch party on March 31st, where the Philadelphia winner will be selected. Go to wordradio.com and click on the Level Up banner for more information or to nominate yourself or a Black woman-owned business you love. The 2021 Level Up contest is sponsored by Comcast, Bank of America, PICO, Keystone First, Thomas Jefferson University, and Jefferson Health.
WURD TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now. Tune in on YouTube at onWURD or on Facebook at ForWord. WURD TV. Black Talk Media.
You're listening to the Envy McKee Show.
Lips full, fillers don't feel me. Soon as my cousin killer's on trial, family gon' pull up sitting courtside. God said they say we singing la la la. Don't want no vultures on our side. Looking black as the Messiah. We got superpowers. We got superpowers. And my people cannot forget that. We got superpowers. We got superpowers.
Welcome back to the Envy McKee Show. Envy McKee, DJ Frosty Phoenix, the Black Man. And we are here to talk to you about the art of being first cause, because this is first Friday in March, and our shift prompt for this month is the art of being first cause. And what's so cool about this particular shift prompt is that literally we are pulling back the layers of things. We are doing a little social anthropology work here. And we're looking at, foundations. We're looking at the seeds, how things, get cracking. And so what I love is that for our livelihood section for tonight, we have invited a highly passionate career strategist. That is the word that I was looking for. She's a career strategist. She is a resume writer. She's a published author with over a decade of experience in corporate recruiting for Fortune 500 companies. She knows what hiring managers are looking for. And this is why this is important, because when you're talking about first cause and we're talking about COVID, how COVID has shifted everything, she's saying that during this time, this is the perfect time to change careers. The way I'm looking at it is that this is the perfect time to make sure that our life structures are in order, from a spiritual literacy standpoint. So if you're just kind of like in a job and you're not really happy in that job and you're looking for a shift, there's something in your body that's saying, I'm not in the right place. Alicia is somebody that you would talk to about this. So can you please give a very warm and powerful welcome to Alicia Perkins, who is on the show with us right now.
Hey, Envy, how are you?
How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm so excited to be here with you this evening.
I am so excited that you're here. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about what a career strategist is, because I did my own little mental deciphering, but I feel like you can tell us better what a corporate strategist is. I mean, a career strategist.
Yeah, absolutely. So a career strategist is somebody that can give you actual strategies to help you advance in your current career, or if you're somebody that's looking to just get, I guess you can say, clarity in your career. It kind of is almost the same thing as a it's kind of the same thing as a career coach. It's just that a coach can be more on the lines of where, I'm sorry, I think my computer, are you there?
Here.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah. So think about a coach. A coach is somebody who's kind of like cheering you on and things like that, but a strategist is one that like actually teach you methods and tips and things like that.
So it's the difference between a counselor and a psychiatrist. That was just a game.
Yes, that is a
psychiatrist. Yeah,
exactly.
A counselor would be like, oh, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But a psychologist like, no, you need some.
Yes. Do this, do that. Yes, ma'am. That's a good example.
Okay, so how did you come to be here? Like, I'm always we talked about it. Like, I'm fascinated about the anthropology. I'm fascinated about how you get from one place to another. Where did you start? And did you know that when you started that this is where you wanted to end up?
No. Actually, I had gone to school for journalism, right? I had this big old dream to write for like Time magazine and things like that. And then I had started a job at a staffing agency. And so, of course, it was just something that I was going to do. I was like 20 years old, and I was like, what I'm going to do is just, stay here to, pay my bills. But then I actually fell into hiring and staffing, and I absolutely loved it. And so over the last 10 years, I had just really just been in staffing and hiring for over 40 different fields, and it's something that I just grew to love. So this career choice was not my first choice.
But do you feel like that you're on purpose? Do you feel like as you continue to advance and grow and evolve that you kind of embodied this thing? And
Absolutely.
So how did you know that you were ready to say it again?
No, I said at first it didn't feel like that, but now where I am in my life, I look back and I'm so thankful for that experience that I was able to gain. And so now with that knowledge, now I feel like I'm actually where I should be.
So how did you know that it was time for you to start your own business, to be your own boss?
I felt stifled. I am a Black woman in corporate America, and that's really a whole show by itself. But I was really at the point where I was really at the point to where I was just almost frustrated. I felt like I was not at the position where I should be. And what happened was, this was kind of something I always did on the side, but when COVID came, it really gave me that extra push that I needed to really start this thing up full time. And so since then, I think over the last year, I've been able to help 2,000 professionals gain jobs that they love. And so I think with COVID,
2,000 in a year?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a lot.
But you know what? It is a lot, but I think that with COVID and just us being surrounded by so much death, it's really have people starting to just think about their lives and really think about where they are. And I know that this time has definitely pushed me past my comfort zone. And so I think for so many, this has just been a time of just real transformation.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And then through your willingness to step out and step in your power, you also gave people the tools that they needed for them to step out and in their power. Absolutely. Would you see it that way?
Yeah, and I was scared. I was so scared at first because I was always like, no, give me my check, because I always knew how much money I was getting paid on a certain day. And so it was definitely one of the most scariest things I did. But now that I work for myself, I really can't see myself going back to a corporate job.
So okay. And that's powerful that you said that. And I feel like lots of people need to hear that, because one of the things that we're talking about this week, this month, our shift prompt, The Art of Being First Cause. One of the things that we're talking about is, how did we get here? Like, what is the foundation of what puts this together? And we understand, capitalism just in and of itself just kind of created this monster, and we're all kind of just trying to manage our lives within this monster. But so few of us even think about or have the space, the bandwidth to think about what their lives would look like or could without these corporate positions. Even when we talk about policy, when we talk about politics, all the things that we talk about in our daily lives, the scope of it is jobs. Not to say that jobs aren't good, not to say that you shouldn't have a job, but it's like we always talk about jobs as though they're these outside things that you get, and not about vocations that you have a very special and particular skill set that you are designed to do, and a position that you would lend your gifts, talents, and capacities to further along, whatever this goal, this dream of a kind and just society, a world that works for everyone, where people aren't just so traumatized that they need persistent, mental health structure. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I also want to say, like, I was not coming at anyone's neck when I say counselor or psychiatrist. I want to be very clear. Like, it was linguistic convenience. I was making an example. We all have, we need that. And so I just want to be clear that I wasn't being funky. I have mental health strategists in my life. So let's keep it like that. So did I just say some of my best friends are counselors? Is that what I just said? Kind of weird.
Oh, child.
You're right. I love that you're transparent about that. You're like, I was scared to do this, and then I've been able, by jumping out on my gifts, talents, and capacities, I was able to help 2,000 people and counting. So okay, so walk us through what career strategy looks like. So I'm coming to you. I'm a talk show host. I host the show on WURD every Friday from 7 to 10 p.m. and I want to expand. Do I come to you, with my resume and say, how do I do that? Like, what is the process?
Yeah, so as far as, again, it really depends on what you mean by expand, right? Do you mean expand like you want to make more money? Are you wanting to expand your brand? Or are you wanting to expand in the way that you serve? And so my clients come to me for many, there's a whole bunch of different reasons why they come to me, but I do tend to notice that they all struggle with the same thing, and that is them knowing their true value. And so really, even though, and I tell people, I say, even though I help people with their careers, I feel like I'm like 80% life coach. a lot of times, because what I always tell people, especially when it comes to your career, is stop going after what is just seen, but start to actually go after what you deserve. And that's something that I think that a lot of people struggle with is them having a good understanding of their value. And so one of the reasons why I love doing this so much is for one, minorities are the most, I've seen people leave thousands of dollars on the table because they don't know their value, right? And so especially as far as salaries and things like that, our race and minorities, we are so much, our race is paid so much less than those that are white or even Hispanic or of other races. And so one of the things I do with my clients is I help them to know their true value, and not only know that, but learn how to sell that. And so a lot of the people that I work with, it really is just confidence building. And a lot of times when they don't know their value, then it's like their whole vision is dim. And so though I do provide you strategies as far as job search strategies and things like that, a lot of it is really just helping them build their brand and build their confidence as well. So
even if you don't have a job in mind, like even if you're not completely clear on what you want to do, you just know that you're not happy where you are and you want to shift something. You're strengthening your life structures. You're probably saying this affirmation: I am available for more good than I ever hoped for, realized, imagined, or manifested in my life before. And your life is shaking up and you're like, oh my God, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. So what, if somebody is there, do they come to you and you're like, okay, calm down. What do you want to do? Like, what turns you on? What juices you? Are you that person, or are you like, no, please have at least a vision of where you want to go first? Like, which person are you?
I actually deal with both. Now with the COVID, I think that people are in a space where they know that they need a change, but not sure what that change looks like. And so with that particular client, what we do is we start actually from the beginning of it, right? Because a lot of times when it comes to our career, we make our career choices on what looks good or what my friend said to go do, or my mama said, and so a lot of our choices on careers are not based upon what we want. And so what I do is shine light on what drives you, the actual career choice that actually brings joy to you.
Okay. You that's where you start. You feel juiced by doing these things. Like, what would you do for free? Do you think that that's a sane assessment? Like, what would you do for free if and that's where you start?
Yes, I start there, but I also have to look at market trends, because there are some people who like doing things and that should be a side hobby for them, right? Because at the end of the day, it is about you getting your bills paid. And so so I mean, that I'm not one to say that your job has to be your full passion, and if it is, that's great, but that's not always the case. The most important aspect is to make sure that you feel valued wherever you go.
Okay, so we're gonna take a break real quick, and when we come back, I want to find out how people find you. Like, how do people know that they need a career coach? I think that's powerful, information. I also want to make sure you get some business too. But we're going to go pay these bills. This is the Envy McKee Show. I'm Envy McKee, DJ Frosty Phoenix, Martin the Black Man. On the line, we have Alicia Perkins from IamAliciaPerkins.com. And we're going to find out about her book as well. This is WURD 900 AM 96.1 FM. We'll be back.
Tune in every Saturday at 4 p.m. for the Did You Know Show with host Bryant Green, right here on WURD 96.1 FM and 900 AM.
The WURD Radio Newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting wordradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the WURD Radio Newsletter.
WURD Radio celebrates Women's History Month with the 2021 Level Up Contest. Join us as we embark on a 3-city contest that will highlight Black women-owned businesses who are making a difference in their communities. You can nominate yourself or your favorite Black woman-owned business and enter to win a marketing campaign valued at $5,000. Level Up is a joint production of WURD Radio in Philadelphia, WVON in Chicago, and KJLH in Los Angeles. These 3 Black-owned stations are joining forces to host a historic, interactive, and multimedia contest spotlighting Black women-owned businesses in Philly, Chicago, and Los Angeles. The deadline for submissions is March 15th. Philadelphia finalists will be featured in a special 2-hour live on-air pitch party on March 31st, where the Philadelphia winner will be selected. Go to wordradio.com and click on the Level Up banner for more information or to nominate yourself or a Black woman-owned business you love. The 2021 Level Up contest is sponsored by Comcast, Bank of America, PECO, Keystone First, Thomas Jefferson University, and Jefferson Health.
WURD TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now. Tune in on YouTube at onWURD or on Facebook at ForWord. WURD TV. Black Talk Media.
You're listening to the Envy McKee Show.
Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bill, y'all.
I grew up on the crime side, the New York Times side. Staying alive was no job. Had second hands. Moms bounced on old men.
Welcome back to the Envy McKee Show. Envy McKee, GC Fox Phoenix, one of the Black man on the mind. We have Alicia Perkins. She is a career strategist. She also writes these fabulous resumes. I was reading some of her, her, what are they called when people love what you do? Those, I was reading some of those. Testimonials, right. And they were like, yo, she wrote my resume and I got this job real quick. So I'm positive that I'm like exaggerating, but not, because, I was, I do my research. I'm a journalist in my own way. And so I just think I've seen these services done before. Like I've seen, resume writing for professionals. You have, all different levels that you do. But you're also an author. Like you're a strategist. You help people optimize, the work that they've already done and synthesize them on a piece of paper that you can apply for positions that fit your vocation. And then you also you've written a book, which I'd love for you to tell us about. Let's start there. What is the name of your book, and what did you talk about?
Why didn't I get the job? The actual job interview process.
I don't know. Why didn't you get the job?
Yes, so the whole job interview process and the actual mistakes that we make that cost us that job. And so I tend to notice that the people tend to make the same mistakes. And so I was like, hey, let me really talk about this. So that's what it talks about. Okay.
So what are some of the mistakes that people make when you're talking about, you have a whole section on job seekers on your, listen, go to her website, IamAliciaPerkins.com, especially if you are, like, if you need a strategist, you need somebody to kind of help you figure out if you're feeling that thing where you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I feel like COVID, just like in any relationship, like we really just talking about, you know, the family dynamics, but you might be in the wrong relationship with your job. You know, that's the relationship.
Right. That's right.
You know, and you might be realizing, I don't really like you and I don't want to be married to you anymore. And there really isn't a whole lot of, you know, career counseling that we're going to do, relationship counseling that we're going to do that's going to fix this, because you're really just a jerk and I don't want to be married to a jerk anymore. So
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like this is why people have talked about this, and hopefully I'll be able to say this in the way that I mean it, because my foot in my mouth have been very well acquainted today. They're saying that our economy is going to shift from a widgets-based to a service-based, you know? And so you have to figure out what you're here to serve, how you are here to serve. Because the factories are going away. All those things are being automated. So it's like, you have to figure out, you know, what your gifts, talents, and capacities are, and, you know, how you can provide that service, you know, whatever that service is for people.
Exactly.
And so how do people shift from, if you have, this is a heady question, but I'm just going to put it out there. How do people shift? Because I think what's the biggest problem that a lot of people are having, you know, just from a spiritual literacy space, is changing their minds. You know, we are persistently talking about, like, the last administration politically, there was talking about clean coal and, you know, factory jobs. We need our jobs back and all of this stuff. And it's like, they're just so stuck in that old mind wave that they can't even see new opportunities. Like, they can't even get to the space where it's like, what's here? What am I here to do? What can I do? You know what I'm saying? But it's really like, we have these conversations over and over. We talk about jobs. So I'm just wondering if you have kind of an understanding, having worked with people, have an understanding of what you think the block is of keeping people from what they're used to versus what they can do, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. I think a lot of it has to do with just comfort zones and just what is just normal to us, right? Because anytime there is change and there is some kind of confrontation that comes with change, there is sometimes a stretching that comes with change, and anytime anything else changes, like, our minds has to change as well. And I think that can definitely be something that is scary, especially when it feels so comfortable. And so I think that without a lot of us from changing is we tend to live by how we feel rather than what's best for us. So,
So do you think part of what we're talking about this month is kind of the difference between just getting the bag, you know, just being on the same hamster wheel that we just got off of, just different, versus really doing, you know, a life of purpose? And not in that wonky way that we're talking about. It was kind of esoteric. I mean, really, you know, I don't feel like we should be paid less than we're worth, you know, the value of what we bring to whatever it is. But I also don't think that, I don't want to bring him into the conversation, so I'm not going to do it. I also don't think that, you know, clamoring for money just as a signifier of success is beneficial either. Do you get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, I feel like the greed is good mentality is kind of run its course. We have so many people that the only signifier of their excellence is how much money they have accumulated. And it doesn't matter how they've accumulated, that's the signifier. It doesn't matter if they're destroying the planet or in the process, they got money. You know, how many times that we've had conversations about people that if somebody criticizes them in a meaningful way, you know, like there is not criticized, but a critique. There's a critique of something that they're up to, and they say, well, I got this money, and that's the answer. And I feel like that's a very lazy, destructive way to look at success, and especially Black success, when literally capitalism was structured on our physical bodies and our death. And now we're going, well, we're not in that now. Let's just take it and just put our little black faces on it. And it's still the same thing. It's just our little black faces on it. So I wonder if you can speak to the difference. I know that's a setup. It's not, but it's like, I'm wondering if you have any like ideas about that we can, take into the further conversation of this. The difference between living your vocation and living your purpose and just collecting money, just to have money as a success strategy, if that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with what you were saying. I think a lot of this is just in us from a child. This is how a lot of times our parents raise us. Not to say it's their fault, but it's just the way that it is. Like, I remember even as a small child, like, as far as careers, those top careers that they was always stressing was to be a doctor or to be a lawyer. Why? Because those fields pay very good money. And so I think it's just something that just has been instilled from us being a child. But I think the way that we're able to really break through that, again, is just it all goes back to our values in life and those things that you actually value. Because in reality, I would say about 45 to 50% of the clients I work with, they are making six figures and they hate their jobs. And so, and we see it time and time again that, it really isn't about the money, but it's about feeling valued. And it's also about, saying in that job, with whatever I'm doing, that this is something that I am actually pleased to do. And so I think a lot of times, I hate to say it, but it just comes through just trial and you work in a job for 6 years and seeing that this doesn't work for me. And so even myself, I have a small child, and this is something that I'm always saying, hey, money is good, but it's not what you think it is. And so again, I really feel like just more conversations have to be had but not even that, but just really how we teach our children and our friends and family. I think that can make a change as well too.
Hey Alicia, this is Eric. I have a quick question because of something you just said. No, Martin, no. Me. I had a question though for you to say that for you saying that money is not everything, and it isn't. But do you definitely recommend sometimes that should you tackle the jobs that not necessarily are about money, but the standard 9 to 5, just get a view of what you might want to do, or do you suggest kind of just jumping straight into your passion if you know what it is?
I kind of, like I said earlier, I kind of have mixed feelings about that. I feel like there is nothing wrong with trying things out and seeing how they work for you. But what you don't want to do is spend the next 15, 20 years trying out something. I always tell people, like, when it comes to your career choices, don't make them based upon where you are now, but make them on where you're trying to go. And so I think that
whoa. You need to say that one more time and louder for the folks in the back. You don't do a job based on where you are now. You accept a job based on where you want to be. Is that what you just said?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Feels like it is complete with that one statement. Like, we can drop a mic and be like, thank you for coming to the MVP show. Shout out to Alicia. Yo. Okay, finish the statement. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But yeah, so again, it's not about the career that you're choosing, but it's just about where you want to get to. And so I understand, sometimes when you're young, that vision is not always clear. But as you are choosing jobs, I think that vision should start to get clear. And if it's not, then there's definitely something wrong, because what you don't want to do is just keep on spending time in a particular job or something that actually doesn't help you at all.
Girl. Did I answer your question, Eric?
Yes.
Okay. What about you, Martin? What was it?
As Black folks, how do you suggest black people, in light of the murder of George Floyd, and a lot of corporations trying this performative blackness, as LinkedIn did by changing their logo from red, black, and green. How do you suggest, or what suggestions do you have for black folks to show up authentically black while searching for a job?
Yeah, it's so funny you asked me. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was saying how even lately, because of the whole race issue and more spotlights are being shined on it, this is a great opportunity for us, because it is causing more companies to change their actual boardroom and their staffs and their teams. But I think it's important for us to not only show up, but to also be well informed of the actual job market and learn how to sell ourselves as well. It's kind of like what I was saying earlier, when it comes to salary and things like that, a lot of us are not as well educated as we should be. And so just even being in HR, I've seen us being paid way less money than you know, a certain counterparts. And so it's not so much about showing up and being black, it's more about showing up and and being well knowledgeable.
So basically, how I read that was, don't work nowhere that's not going to allow you to be who you are. Is that what I heard?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, right. And the reason why I say this is because I see so many clients that I work with, like, they are so afraid to have profile pictures up, right? Because they're thinking, no, they're not going to hire me, you know, if they realize I'm black. Well, you shouldn't want to work for them, you know, like in the first place. And so I've been a very big advocate of not, you know, pushing doors down or squeezing into them. It's like, make your own doors. And so, because at the end of the day, you know, what you don't want to happen is you find yourself squeezing into these doors and spaces, and the whole time that you're there, you are being treated like crap. And so, that's my little 2 cents on it.
But the shift here is that for so long, we have been taught that we aren't valued, that we aren't valuable, that our talents and capacities are not worth anything. But the reality is, when you're applying for a job, that they need your skill set to do the whatever they have to be in business. So it's like you're really interviewing them. They make it like they're interviewing you, but that's how capitalism mixes you to take the lower salary that you're not worth, because you just want to put food on the table. You know what I'm saying? So the attitude is, you know, I'm just grateful to be here. And that might be true.
Exactly.
But the reality is, if you're not there, you know what I'm saying? And if you are a professional, if you bring a very specific skill set and that company doesn't value you, do you think that some other company won't? You know, why would you want to be someplace where people are going to abuse you? That's because we are used to being in abusive relationships. Let's just leave that there. But I wish you know, you have to come back on. Like, Alicia, you're super, super dope. I'm so grateful. Thank you for, you know, going down this rabbit hole with us and, you know, having this conversation. You know, it's supposed to be a livelihood segment, but this is like the Woo Metaphysical Studio, but on fire. Like, this is like, you know what I mean? But it's like, this is really big. And, you know, as we are building and birthing this kind and just society, a world that works for everyone, we're going to have these conversations.
Exactly.
Stop taking these jobs where people don't value your contributions, because that's why, you know, back in the day, you know, you had to take the job you had to take. We don't live in that world anymore.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Girl, how do we reach you? How do people, give her all your money. How do we reach you?
Yeah, you can go to my website at IamAliciaPerkins.com, and you can reach me there. And my email address is support@IamAliciaPerkins.com as well.
Okay. Thank you so much for being here. Please come back. You will be our dean of career something. Eric will come up with it. But please come back. Love to have you back. This is the Envy McKee Show.
Love to come back.
DJ Frosty. Thank you, Martin the Black Man. This is WURD 900 AM 96.1 FM. We'll be black.
I would like to play a little tune I just composed not so long ago.
Hey family, do you like hearing the best jazz selections aired by 3 of the best jazz announcers in Philadelphia? Well, tune in to 96.1 FM,
96.1 FM,
and 900 AM, WURD Radio, independent black media for Freedom Sounds of Jazz.
Freedom Sounds of Jazz.
Hear Freedom Sounds of Jazz 10 p.m. Fridays with your hosts in rotation, Aquila, Jonathan Bay, and David Fritz. That's 10 p.m. Friday nights on WURD 96.1 FM and 900 AM, independent black media.
Tune into Reality Check, hosted by Charles Ellison, Wednesdays at noon for Tech Life Steph and the latest digital tips of the week, brought to you by Comcast. This literacy tip is brought to you by AARP Pennsylvania. If 2020 taught us anything, it's that scammers follow the headlines. And AARP Pennsylvania wants you to watch out for scammers taking advantage of the biggest headline, COVID vaccines. In the early weeks and months, expect limited supply of vaccines to be available only to certain high-risk populations. So, when you see an ad, email, text message, or you pick up a call and the offer is to resolve your vaccine for a fee, know it's a scam. Listen to your healthcare provider and health authorities for guidance and ignore all else. This literacy tip was brought to you by AARP Pennsylvania.
This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Independent black media. WURD TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now. Tune in on YouTube at onWURD or on Facebook at ForWord. WURD TV. Black Talk Media. Envy's evolution is the Envy McKee Show.
Hey, we're Philly's own Kindred, the family soul.
Hey, what's up? This is Kevin Carr.
Hey, this is Lady Alma.
This is Greg.
And Halana.
And we are the Woke Bays.
Yo, what's up? This your boy Genuine right here on the Envy McKee Show. Now, always stay tuned.
Join the Envolution exclusively on WURD.
Star people, it's another Black Excellence episode of Black Artist Story 365. Welcome to Black Music Month. Okay, in case you're new, the premise for this series goes a little something like this. Hit it! It's all in me. Black History Month is about celebrating Black excellence en masse throughout the month of February. But when February's little short self is over, does that mean we stop celebrating Black excellence? No. It's way too important to remember and recognize that Black excellence spans all genre and all months of the year, which is why we celebrate Black history 365 days a year. My name? You know my name. It's Envy McKee. And in this series, we explore the change makers, the outliers, and the visionaries within Black diaspora culture, past and present. We explore mostly the arts in this series, highlighting specific genres and the glorious Black folk who showed up to show out and take up space in a way that propels their art and the arts forward. From musicians and dancers to writers and their weird world-building selves to the finest of the fine artist hunting. The official name of this series is Black History, Arts, and Artistry 365. But we go on ahead and call it Black Artist Story 365 because nobody except me is saying all them words. So, this month, we're highlighting trailblazing Black women musicians because Black music is literally every genre of music you can think of. And if it exists, Black women probably trailblazed it. I said what I said. Thank God for Black women. Period. Who are we honoring up this week, Envy? Well, great question, Star Fam. None other than American singer, songwriter, guitarist, and recording artist, Sister Rosetta Tharpe, a.k.a. the undisputed godmother of rock and roll. For ease and grace purposes, we'll sometimes call her SRT.
Every day, there are strange things.
Let's do a little Star People trivia first, though, shall we? Which early and later iconic rock and roll musicians was SRT the known influence of? She influenced early rock and roll musicians including Little Richard, Johnny Cash, Carl Perkins, Chuck Berry, Elvis Presley, and Jerry Lee Lewis. Which of SRT's hits is considered the first rock and roll song ever? Her 1945 hit, Strange Things Happening Every Day. The genre of music SRT performed was A, gospel, B, pop, C, R&B, D, blues, E, jazz, or F, rock and roll. Z, all of them Johns. In fact, as we'll discover, rock and roll and R&B became a thing because of her. Okay, one more. True or false? SRT was a Philly homegirl. That's true! She moved to Philly in 1957 and lived there until she left the mortal coil in 1973. There's a historical marker outside of her home at 11th and Master. Sister Rosetta Tharpe was born on March Pisces as Rosetta Newben in Cotton Plant, Arkansas, to Katie Bell Newben and Willis Atkins, who were, for all intents and purposes, cotton pickers. Some say her actual factual birth name is Rose Ether Atkins, or Atkinson, and her mama name was actually Katie Harper. Times being as they were in them days, it's all possible. Little is known of her father except that he was a singer, and Tharpe's mother, Katie, was also a singer and a mandolin player, evangelist, and preacher for the Church of God in Christ, also known as Kojic. Kojic was founded in 1894 by Charles Harrison Mason, who was a black Pentecostal bishop who encouraged rhythmic musical expression, dancing in praise, and allowed women to sing and teach in church. Encouraged by her mother, Little Queen Sister Rosetta began singing and playing the guitar as Little Rosetta Newben at the age of 4. All things considered, young Queen Rosetta was a musical prodigy. About 1921, at the age of 6, she joined her mother as a regular performer in a traveling evangelical troupe. Billed as a singing and guitar-playing miracle, she accompanied her mama in performances that were part sermon and part gospel concert before audiences across the American South. In the mid-1920s, Little Queen Rosetta and her mother settled in Chicago, Illinois, where they performed religious concerts at the Kojic Church on 40th Street, occasionally traveling to perform at church conventions throughout the country. Tharpe developed considerable fame as a musical prodigy, standing out in an era when prominent black female guitarists were rare. In 1934, at age 19, her mama found her a husband, a traditional male person and preacher named Thomas Thorpe. The marriage didn't last, but the name did. Sister Rosetta Tharpe was born by improving upon her first husband's surname, Blam. Although she married several times, she performed as Rosetta Tharpe for the rest of her life. Also, Blam. In 1938, at the age of 23, young Queen Rosetta left her arranged marriage and she and her mama moved to New York City. Around this time, Tharpe recorded for the first time 4 sides for Decca Records, backed by Lucky Millender's Jazz Orchestra. The first gospel songs recorded by Decca, Rock Me, That's All, My Man and I, and The Lonesome Road were instant hits, establishing Tharpe as an overnight sensation and one of the first commercially successful gospel artists. It is known Rock Me influenced many rock and roll singers, including Elvis Presley, Little Richard, and Jerry Lee Lewis.
$1. On it feed me.
She had signed a 7-year contract with Millender. Her records caused an immediate furor. Many churchgoers were shocked by the mixture of gospel-based lyrics and secular-sounding music, but secular audiences loved them. Tharp's appearances with Cab Calloway at Harlem's Cotton Club in October of 1938 and in John Hammond's Spirituals to Swing concert at Carnegie Hall gained her more fame along with notoriety. Performing gospel music for secular nightclub audiences and alongside blues and jazz musicians and dancers was unusual, and in conservative religious circles, a woman playing the guitar in such settings was frowned upon. During this time, masculinity was directly linked to guitar skills. Tharp was often offered the backhanded compliment that she could play like a man. Gag. Her 1945 hit, Strange Things Happening Every Day, recorded in late 1944, featured Tharp's vocals and electric guitar, with Sammy Price on piano, bass, and drums. It was the first gospel record to cross over, hitting number 2 on the Billboard quote-unquote race records chart, the term then used for what later became the R&B chart in April 1945. The recording has been cited as the precursor of rock and roll.
Every day, every day, there are strange things happening every day.
According to the Afropunk article titled Queer, Black and Blue, Sister Rosetta Tharpe is mother of them all. Fast forward 2 years and Tharpe is witnessing Mary Knight and Mahalia Jackson live in concert in New York City. Utterly spellbound by Marie Knight, Tharpe tracked her down and the two set out to perform together. While Knight sang and played piano, SRT, that's Sister Rosetta Tharpe, did both, plus guitar. The two became lovers and creative partners through the rest of the decade. During this time, they recorded Up Above My Head and Gospel Train. Although the Times dictated that if Tharpe and Knight wanted careers, they would never be quote-unquote out as a couple, legend has it their relationship was one of those open secrets in entertainment circles. So now you know. Let it flow.
You know this train? It's standing in the station.
In 1951, of course, after Tharpe and Knight disbanded, a publicity stunt ensued. Lord. Tharpe invited 25,000 of her closest paying fans to her wedding, to her manager, whom she met several months prior, a man called Russell Morrison. This, by the by, was Duchess Rosetta's third marriage. The wedding, it was a whole wedding, honey, complete with minister, y'all, at Griffith Stadium in Washington, D.C. That was followed by a whole live recorded concert. The party favors for the guests? Well, that was the album that the label wanted from it, apparently. In April and May of 1964, Tharpe toured Europe as part of the Blues and Gospel Caravan, alongside Muddy Waters and Otis Spann, Ransom Knowling and Little Willie Smith, Reverend Gary Davis, Cousin Joe, Sonny Terry, and Brownie McGee. SRT was introduced on stage and accompanied on piano by Cousin Joe Pleasant. An iconic concert happened in May of 1964. In the rain, mind you, at this, it was like a retired train station at Wilbraham Road in Manchester. Honey, when I say it was an epic, one-of-a-kind, never-to-happen-again event, listen. The band performed on one platform while the audience was seated on the opposite platform. Legend has it her guitar playing technique had a profound influence on the development of British blues in the 1960s, as cited by prominent British guitarists such as Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, and Keith Richards. A black woman did that.
Didn't it rain, children? Rain, oh yes. Didn't it?
It is noted Because she loved God and the club, her words, not mine, and was willing to cross the line between sacred and secular by performing her music of light in the darkness of nightclubs and concert halls with big bands behind her, she pushed spiritual music into the mainstream and helped pioneer the rise of pop gospel from her earliest recordings. Her unique music left a lasting mark on more conventional gospel artists. Where did you think your faves got it from?
I'm not fit me right. I want to get to heaven.
A resurgence of interest in Tharp's work led to a biography, several NPR segments, scholarly articles, and honors. The United States Postal Service issued a 32-cent commemorative stamp to honor Tharp on July 15, 1998. In 2004, 31 years after her death, her 1944 release, Down by the Riverside, was selected by the National Recording Registry of the U.S. Library of Congress, which noted that it captures her spirited guitar playing and unique vocal style, demonstrating clearly her influence on early rhythm and blues performers, and cited her influences on many gospel, jazz, and rock artists. In 2007, she was inducted posthumously into the Blues Hall of Fame, and January 11th was declared Sister Rosetta Tharpe Day in Pennsylvania. On December 13th in 2017, she was elected to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as an early influence. Woo! And that's just the stars notes. We're all better, and the culture is richer because SRT was ahead of her time and trailblazed the gospel onto the pop charts and literally made rock and roll a thing with her voice, her talent, and her guitar. An iconic, trailblazing, queer black woman did that. Thank you, Sister Rosetta Tharpe. If you want to learn more about the undisputed godmother of rock and roll, make sure you check out the documentaries The Godmother of Rock and Roll on PBS and BBC's The Story of Sister Rosetta Tharpe. They're both on YouTube. So that's it for this week's episode of Season 2 of Black History, Arts, and Artistry 365, a.k.a. Black Artistory 365, because nobody except me is saying all them words. My name is Envy McKee. See you next week when we continue our mini-series honoring up trailblazing black women musicians. Who's next, you ask? Tune in next week to find out, yo. Or you can guess based on the clues from this episode. Peace and Levine Heil Star, people.
This train is a clean train. This train, you know, this train is a clean train. Everybody ride it if you can. This train is a clean train.
What's up, everyone? I know you know the word, no, not the station, but this word, J-O-B that is, and our friends at Amoroso's Baking Company are hiring right now. Amoroso's has been baking the delicious bread in our community for over 100 years, and they want you to join their team today. The old and the young love Amoroso's, and they are hiring right now. Check it out. They offer fair pay and provide health, dental, and prescription plans after 90 days employment. Call 856-754-0355 or visit amorososbaking.com for details. Tune in Saturdays from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. to hear Empire Capital and Consulting founder Mark Palmer's show titled Black Money, Black Power. This show centers around black money and how black power is derived from money. Tune in every Saturday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Black Money, Black Power. Hosted by Mark Palmer.
WURD Radio celebrates Women's History Month with the 2021 Level Up Contest. Join us as we embark on a 3-city contest that will highlight black women-owned businesses who are making a difference in their communities. You can nominate yourself or your favorite black woman-owned business and enter to win a marketing campaign valued at $5,000. Level Up is a joint production of WURD Radio in Philadelphia, WVON in Chicago, and KJLH in Los Angeles. These 3 black-owned stations are joining forces to host a historic, interactive, and multimedia contest spotlighting black women-owned businesses in Philly, Chicago, and Los Angeles. The deadline for submissions is March 15th. Philadelphia finalists will be featured in a special 2-hour live on-air pitch party on March 31st, where the Philadelphia winner will be selected. Go to wordradio.com and click on the Level Up banner for more information or to nominate yourself or a black woman-owned business you love. The 2021 Level Up contest is sponsored by Comcast, Bank of America, Pico, Keystone First, Thomas Jefferson University, and Jefferson Health.
WURD TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now. Tune in on YouTube at onWURD or on Facebook at ForWord. WURD TV. Black Talk Media.
You're listening to the Envy McKee Show.
Help me out. This is it. Time for you to go to the wire. You will hit cause you got the burning desire. It's your time. You will hit cause you got the burning desire. It's your time. Got the horns and why don't you blow it? It's your time. You feel
Welcome back to the Envy McKee Show. Envy McKee, DJ Frosty Phoenix, Martin the Black Man.
I always want to be. Dr. Adema is joining the show.
Just wait a second. Just wait a second. Hopefully you enjoyed that wonderful flashback Friday of Black Artist Story 365, Sister Rosetta Tharpe. Of course, we're going to be dealing with trailblazing Black women all of this month, but we had to set it off properly with Sister Rosetta Tharpe. So welcome back to the Envy McKee Show. It is powerful that this is First Friday. I love First Fridays. I love Third Fridays. I love all the Fridays, but I especially love it because my sister from another mister, Dr. Adema, shows up on First Fridays to help us begin to unpack and define the shift prompt that we're working through, right? And on Third Fridays, she helps us to, be able to use the tool that we're crafting. So it's really powerful work when she comes on here because, this is foundational work. So shout out to Dr. Adema, who's in the building. But before we do all that, let me open the Woo Metaphysical Studio. I'm going to do a
building, son. She's in the building.
I'm so grateful for this moment that we have together, for this time together in the Woo Metaphysical Studio as we peel back the layers and we discover first causes. And I am grateful for the conversation that we have, and we are blessed and a blessing, and so it is. First Friday. Okay, so Dr. Jim is in the building. I'm so glad that she's here. Yay. Martin did this whole celestial body thing earlier.
Dr. Adema, one of the heavenly bodies, has come to grace us. As she's there in the sky, above America, somewhere in the Midwest.
Okay, that's fine. So,
I love that. Yes, Coming to America. I gotta watch it now.
Or it could be one of those 70 sitcoms that's like, and they go, Dr. Adema.
Get Isaac Hayes as background music.
So,
oh yes, chocolate chip cookie.
I have no idea what's happening right now.
It's blackness.
I just don't.
It's blackness on display at your show, Envy.
And now you're giving me the blackness voice. Okay, so listen. Focus. The voice. You're right. It sounds like the voice of blackness. So our shift prompt for this month is the art of being first cause.
First cause.
And I know first cause from the standpoint of from Agape and Reverend Michael. We call him Dr. Beckwith. Dr. B at Agape, he talks about first cause being kind of like the seed of transformation, right? We talked last week about alchemy. We talked about alchemy. We talked about, transmuting the lower frequencies of things that leaden David from Chicago so astutely pointed out, that leaden frequency, that low vibe, right? And transmuting that into the golden frequency of higher vibes. That's how we talked about alchemy. And we talked about blackness as an alchemical technology, that seed energy, that seed of gold energy, we will call black gold, of being able to transmute what's going on in the planet. That our very existence was an alchemical process. It was designed in that way. Whether or not we, live up to that design is something completely different. But saying that, it makes sense when we come into this new conversation, which is literally just a kind of like a movement, is a natural flow from the conversation we had last week, to the art of being first cause. And so if we look at first cause, if we're looking at like from a social anthropology standpoint, like peeling back the layers and finding out, which came first, the chicken or the egg, right? It's chicken, by the way. If we look at it from that standpoint, or if we look at things from, well, which came first, greed or the need to take care of your family, which came first, whiteness or anti-blackness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which came,
Hey,
look at all these different.
Like she went for the jugular, like.
Well,
I love it. I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying
I'm asking, like, what are the center things? And I was also looking at black women and looking at black women. If we look at blackness as technology, black women as a technology, the original technology. If black women are the seeds of all humanity, well, then we're the original technology. And so you have to ask, well, which came first? Was it anti-blackness or misogyny or misogynoir? Like, was that the first thing? Were people like, well, just because you're the original doesn't mean I have to like you? Is there just I'm just looking at these things. I don't have any of the answers. That's what this show is about. It's about really just doing the dance. It's like pulling back the layers and looking at things. So I want to look at first cause. Look at the definition of first cause. It is a philosophy term that's showing up in Britannica. That's what I'm looking at. First cause in philosophy, the self-created being, i.e. God, to which every chain of causes must ultimately go back. The term was used by Greek thinkers and became an underlying assumption in the Judeo-Christian tradition. Many philosophers and theologians in this tradition have formulated an argument for the existence of God by claiming that the world that man observes with his senses must have been brought into being by God as the first cause. The classic Christian formulation of this argument came from the medieval theologian St. Thomas Aquinas, who was, did I say that right? Aquinas? Is it Aquinas or Aquinas? It's Aquinas. We'll say Aquinas. Y'all can call and correct me if you need to. Who was influenced by the thought of the ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle. Aquinas argued that the observable order of causation is not self-explanatory. It can only be accounted for by the existence of a first cause. This first cause, however, must not be considered simply as the first in a series of continuing causes, but rather as first cause in the sense of being the cause for the whole series of observable causes. This is where the philosophy comes in, because it feels like they're just doing a lot of words. 18th century German philosopher Immanuel Kant rejected the argument from causality because, according to one of his central theses, causality cannot legitimately be applied beyond the realm of possible experience to a transcendent cause. Protestantism generally has rejected the validity of the first cause argument. Nevertheless, for most Christians, it remains an article of faith that God is the first cause of all that exists. The person who conceives of God in this way is apt to look upon the observable world as contingent, i.e., as something that could not exist by itself. And so looking at that first cause, meaning the world cannot exist by itself, as the framework of how we are framing this. This is the philosophy, by the way. This is a philosophy. First cause is a philosophy that we did not create ourselves. There was something bigger than us making this thing go. Now, what's interesting when they say God is linguistic convenience. It didn't say it was a person. It didn't say God was Santa Claus in the sky. It just said there was something that caused, willed, interpreted, manifested, designed, created, whatever. There's something that moved, and whether it be a second later or 50,000 million years later, here we are. And so if we're looking at ourselves from that standpoint, knowing that the very first human was a Black woman, knowing that the cradle of civilization came between Black women thighs, it's not a stretch during Black women's history, present, and future month that we speak from this term, the art of being first cause. So that was my frame point. So what I wanted to go around the room, though, and find out what you guys were thinking about with regard to being first cause and where you think this conversation could go with that understanding. This is class. I'm that teacher today.
I was trying to follow you with the first cause, like the lens you're saying, what came first, and then applying that to as the first cause. This is what led us down the path that we are today.
And I see where, because we've been talking kind of superficially before, like earlier in the conversation, and now we're kind of getting a little deeper.
Specific.
But we're pulling out the layers of it, right? So we were talking about Black women being the most disrespected, right? Why that is. That to me is a cause. There's a cause to that. Like there is a seedling of understanding, a seed maybe, that we need to understand where that came from. And then you go deeper still. There's a first cause before that. Like, I like the idea that there are multiple first causes. This is a philosophy class today, because it really is like, I don't know that in this one conversation, even if we have it for 4 weeks, that we're actually going to get to the root of anything, but I think we'll get closer. And so whatever is coming up in your awareness, let's talk about that and see where it goes. I feel like this is going to be one of those conversations. But in light of that it's Black Women's History Month, I want to look at it from the standpoint of understanding that Black women can possibly be looked at as the very first technology, and then there's something else. You know what I'm saying? And then whatever happened, yes, it stems from that one first understanding. And so when I said what came first, whiteness or anti-Blackness, that can be applied to, Black women too. How is the cradle of civilization the most disrespected on this planet? How is that?
So in my opinion, when I do the research into African tribes, and not from a research from a being in love with the concept of Africa, but being real. Like, I'm not making a generalization. I just say African. Let's say different countries in Africa. So Kenya, Tanzania, Ghana, Gambia. Slightly, I've studied a little bit about Nigeria. Not as much as I would like to. But anyway, I feel like Black women from the start have had to fight for their position in the family circle. I feel like we fetishize this concept that Black women were held on high in Africa, and that's not always the case. So I see similar patterns, specifically on the ground, like physically on the ground. And I mean, you see what happened today, but I don't think that it's just something that started today. So to your point, I think male energy has always been, and I continue to fight it in my own case. I'll speak for myself, but has always been this destructive force. From what I can see, it's very rare, and I see this embracive force, this loving force, this hey partner, what's up? I love you. What's up? Let's get it together. It's always been this domineering, destructive, disgusting, force. And so to your
do you think that is kind of like a separation from what divine masculinity was designed to be? And then that goes back to, was it a design? Like, when we talk about first cause, that means that there was intention behind it. And so folks just took the intention and bastardized it.
Well, I think that it's like, so my personal opinion is that we were given, first man, first woman, given a choice. In everything I read, there's never this relationship that is a loving relationship. It's like they're stuck together out of necessity. So it reminds me of like the forced marriages,
Mm-hmm.
Let me take your rib out of you and make this thing. I don't want you to take my rib out. And this rib and this thing of yours, and it's like, I gotta take care of you, feed you too.
But are you just speaking from a Christian theology? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I even think that the God, like, so the concept of even God as a woman, and I unite to that, anything, or feminine energy, we'll say. I think that the problem people have, at least in my opinion, is that the concept is difficult for people to understand, that you could have a choice and you could still go this way. It's like there was a choice, and at some choice.
So you're basically saying that the creation story is like I need to put a pin in that. What are you thinking, Dr. Jima? I need to put a pin in that. I need a moment. I don't want to say anything.
So when I evaluate, the question, your prompt of the art of being first cause, in the context of the definition, I think of how we're separated from our roots, right? And then sort of weave in a little bit what Martin was saying, so that we all make choices that have ripple effects, right? This idea of
the butterfly effect.
There's everything goes back to the origin, right? And the first choice you made is sort of goes back to the source of what we were saying earlier, that all the choices we make and who we are, Black women as a technology, everything is derived from something else, from some original source, some original energy. And because my belief is that we are all sort of part of continuing and building things, our choices can either reinforce that original intent or be separated from it. So it goes back to like, what are our roots, to what you're saying, right? And the whole, like, why are Black women denigrated if we accept the premise that Black women are the first technology, right? And we have since just separated ourselves from that understanding. So that's where I've gone so far, but I want to think about that more. And then I kind of think it eventually will dovetail into what Martin was saying about masculinity, and even maybe toxic masculinity, and the idea that.
Well, when we talk about first cause, like, where did that come from? Like, if you think about, okay, so we talk about first came first, the chicken or the egg, right? So the chicken came first because you have to have a thing that before it can create a thing, right? So Black women came first.
But is it even linear? Is it there simultaneously?
Ooh,
right.
I that's a very good question.
Right. Yeah. So, but that's where I'm admittedly struggling. Like, I'm not sure if it's linear, although it's very easy to think of things that way, to make sense of it.
You know what? I didn't even think of that. Like, we think in terms of, and linear is a very masculine, hierarchy is a very masculine way of looking at things. And cipher is a very feminine thing. Like if you think about time is a learning tool. It is a thing, you know, that we kind of made so that we can make sense of the world that we're in. But the reality is that time, it doesn't begin, it doesn't end. It's a cipher. It's ongoing. Mm-hmm. And lots of philosophers and spiritual thinkers and, you know, master teachers speak in those terms, that time is forever happening. And so just like energy, nothing is created or destroyed. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why? So we're asking the wrong question. We're asking which came first, but the question is not that. And I don't know what the question is now.
Right. And then even this point I made about going back to your roots, that implicates time. It's like, maybe the roots are always there. And going back to Martin's point about choice, you just need to choose it. It's right here, like in your face, present all the time, right? As opposed to, you know, going back somewhere, going to something, it's always present. The technology.
This conversation is reminding me of that movie, The Arrival. So now we have to go back and watch that movie, The Arrival, again.
Is that, yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
I've seen it, but I do need to watch it again. Yeah, I forgot the pieces.
Okay, so we're gonna pay these bills. We come back. More of this conversation. I think I'm going to pull something from A Course in Miracles because there's something that's reminding me of this. This conversation I think might be powerful for how we continue this conversation. This is the Envy McKee Show. Envy McKee, DJ Frosty Phoenix, Martin the Black Man, Dr. Jima in the WURD Metaphysical Studio. We're talking about our shift prompt. We're just beginning. This is the start. Art of being first cause. And there's a lot here that we've already started to unpack. And of course, you know, we'd love to have you join in this conversation. How do they do that, Eric?
By dialing 215-634-8065. Toll free 1-866-361-0900.
The Star People movie phone. This is WURD 900 AM 96.1 FM. We'll be black.
COVID-19 has highlighted the need for digital equity and internet adoption programs. Comcast's Internet Essentials program is designed to connect families to low-cost, high-speed internet and laptops so students can be ready for anything. Since 2011, Comcast has connected 4 million students from low-income families to the internet through its Internet Essentials program. Learn more about how Internet Essentials is connecting students.
Okay, Her's new fire potato chips and cheese curls, they are spicy. Whew, they're hottest snacks yet, hold on. Whew. But you know, it's not just heat. There's some nice sweet and savory stuff going on too. Ooh, there's that heat again. It burns, but it burns so tasty. Ooh, that's hot. Find Her's Fire Snacks at your store today. Whew. Taste the flavor, feel the heat, break out the Her's.
WURD TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now. Tune in on YouTube at onWURD or on Facebook at ForWord. WURD TV. Black Talk Media.
You're listening to the Envy McKee Show.
Welcome back to the Envy McKee Show. Envy McKee, DJ Frosty Phoenix, Martin the Black Man.
Black every day.
That's going to be your intro from now on. Martin. I'm going to do a commercial that's going to introduce us.
Oh, you should.
And it's gonna be like, and all the deans, I feel like we're gonna have a dean roster. I'm gonna do something really cool. Don't listen. I'm finishing up a project. Once this project is finished, I will have the bandwidth to just go full ham on this.
You're always doing a project, though.
Amy's gonna pour into all
you're
of us.
You're always doing a project, though.
What'd you say? I know I am, but it's not like this. Woo. Y'all, when this audiobook comes out, just be prepared. It is just, it's all
that in a bag of chips.
I'm doing like 7 or 8 different male voices and 7 or 8 different female voices. Okay.
Wow.
So that's, yes, and they're all distinct. So you got that. Anyway, so welcome back, first of all, to the Envy McKee Show. Dr. June is in the WURD Metaphysical Studio. Our shift prompt for this month is the art of being first cause. And it's going to uncover. This is going to be one of those things, like, I don't think we've had some pretty esoteric shift prompts, but I feel like this is going to be the esoteric of the esoteric shift prompts. And I kind of have an idea of why Spirit directed it in this way. I don't know where this conversation is going, but I feel like this conversation we're having tonight is a setup for it always is, for the future ones. But we haven't read from A Course in Miracles in some time. And we were talking about choice. Martin was talking about choice. And so on page 129, the title, it's chapter 8. The chapter is titled The Journey Back. Isn't that interesting? First call, yeah. The Journey Back, right? Okay. On this subchapter is the difference between imprisonment and freedom. There is a rationale for choice. Only one teacher knows what your reality is. If learning to remove the obstacles to that knowledge is the purpose of the curriculum, you must learn it of him. The ego does not know what it is trying to teach. It is trying to teach you what you are without knowing what you are. Expert only in confusion. It does not understand anything else. As a teacher, then, the ego is totally confused and totally confusing. Even if you could disregard the Holy Spirit entirely, which is impossible, you could still learn nothing from the ego because the ego knows nothing. Is there any possible reason for choosing a teacher such as this? Does the total disregard of anything it teaches make anything but sense? Is this the teacher to whom a son of God should turn to find himself? The ego has never given you a sensible answer to anything. It's simply on the grounds of your own experience with its teaching. Should not this alone disqualify it as your future teacher? Yet the ego has done more harm to your learning than this alone. Learning is joyful if it leads you along your natural path and facilitates the development of what you have. When you are taught against your nature, however, you will lose by learning because your learning will imprison you. Will is in your nature and therefore cannot go against it. The ego cannot teach you anything as long as your will is free because you will not listen to it. It is not your will to be imprisoned because your will is free. This is why the ego is in the denial of free will. It is never God who coerces you because he shares his will with you. His voice teaches only in accordance with his will, but that is not the Holy Spirit's lesson because that is what you are. The lesson is that your will and God's cannot be out of accord because they are one. This is the undoing of everything the ego tries to teach. Is it not then, only the direction of the curriculum that must be unconflicted, but also the content? Last paragraph that I'm going to read right now. The ego teaches that you want to oppose God's will. This unnatural lesson cannot be learned, and the attempt to learn it is a violation of your own freedom, making you afraid of your will because it is free. The Holy Spirit opposes any imprisoning of the will of the Son of God, knowing that the will of the Son is the Father's. The Holy Spirit leads you steadily along the path of freedom, teaching you how to disregard or look beyond everything that would hold you back. So you know what I'm saying? We're gonna read more later. because we're going to get through this one subparagraph. But, you know, it speaks to what I think you were saying, Dr. Jima, about the hierarchy of things. If we're looking at things from a separation standpoint. We're looking at the egg as separate from, you know, the mother.
Right.
We're looking at, you know, we're looking at ourselves as separate from each other. We keep looking at these things from a separated standpoint. You know, time as the separate thing from our existence. There's a present, there's a past, and there's a future. But what if those things weren't actually separate? What if they're simultaneous, but we're experiencing them separate because, you know, that's just what we needed to do to figure out where we are? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one. But it's also telling me that when we think about free will, we think it's like when you were talking about choice, you were saying God set these people up and, you know, the male energy chose to do something different. Could it be that what we're looking at here is the divergence from, you know, our nature, our true nature, which is, you know, oneness, and what the ego has?
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking at.
Yeah. I think that last sentence that you, in that paragraph, or the last phrase that you mentioned about we're being directed on the path of freedom, teaching us to look beyond the things that would hold us back from that. And I think that's exactly what I think if I'm understanding it correctly, the role of the ego is to sort of be this false instructor, right? That creates the linearity, that creates, as you were said before we went to break, the idea that if we can understand and acknowledge that Black women are the first technology, but then why do we not celebrate that?
Why do we not celebrate that?
Right. So one thing I wanted to unpack, though, is like you mentioned, like the content and the curriculum is unconflicted. So, and I'm assuming that's content in the curriculum being unconflicted is necessary for that path to freedom. And so maybe where we're in this rut where we're making choices based on a curriculum is because the content isn't in sync with the curriculum. Is that fair? So in some sense, the idea of choice is corrupted because of just the world we've built around us. That's based on ego.
I feel like when we're talking about first cause, there might be a divine natural seed to what, you know, I'm going to say design, blueprint, what we were designed to do. But because we kind of bastardized and co-opted and bastardized whatever that blueprint was to fit whatever the ego wanted to do, now we have something completely different. And so that's kind of where, okay, I want to read this because this was the second paragraph. I want to read this one paragraph. It says, knowledge is not the motivation for learning this course. Peace is.
Yeah.
This is the prerequisite for knowledge only because those who are in conflict are not peaceful. And peace is the condition of knowledge because it is the condition of the king. Knowledge can be restored only when you meet its conditions. This is not a bargain made by God who makes no bargains. It is merely the result of your misuse of his laws on behalf of an imaginary will that is not his. Knowledge is his will. If you are opposing his will, how can you have knowledge? I have told you that knowledge offers you what knowledge offers you, but perhaps you do not yet regard this as wholly desirable. If you did, you would not be so ready to throw it away when the ego asks for your allegiance. So the initial, like, if you look at the world, it is not peace.
No one's free.
No one is free. And it's like we've looped. And so what always comes to mind when I sat down to write the Stellar Trilogy Book 1, the underlying question in my mind, I was writing a story. I mean, I didn't know what I was writing, but I was really asking this question, like, what if God was a woman? And everything that we see here on this planet is a result of her husband being jealous and kind of trying to co-opt her work. Huh?
I said that's book one. You're giving away book one.
I'm not giving, but what I'm saying is, like, that was kind of the question. I'm not giving it away, but I didn't say who any of these people were. But it's like, that was the question. I was like, I was exploring what if God was a woman, and the trauma that we experience on this world is really she married a jealous man who tried to co-opt her work. And what would the world look like? And the conclusion that I came to in writing the story was the world that we're living in right now. And if you think of,
one being married a jealous being who created things like masculinity,
right,
and femininity, all these divisions, right? Again, we impose either as like a binary or on a linear framework, right, as opposed to just whatever our essential selves were.
Yeah. And I was exploring all the creation, all the creation stories. I was thinking all these, these famous Bible stories. What is the Eden? What is, heaven? What is hell? What, all of these things that were literally in the story just technology. Right. Just places that people, what I'm saying? But they got glamorized and put in this book, and then people just followed the book and they missed the, the crux of what the stories were about. And I think if I were going to synthesize book one, that's it. It's like pulling apart all of these things and looking at first cause. The first cause was the blueprint, because if you really step back on book one, you realize it is a blueprint. I'm saying it is a map. It's a map of how to get from where we've been to where we're designed to be. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, that being said, the music is playing, so that means it's time for us to go to break. This is the Envy McKee Show. I'm Envy McKee, DJ Frosty Phoenix Martin, the Black Man, Dr. Ajima's in the building. We are uncovering, unpacking, pulling apart our gorgeous shift prompt for this month of March, the art of being, first cause. This is WURD, 900 AM, 96.1 FM. We'll be black.
Thinking about retirement? Make sure a My Social Security account is a part of your plan. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can find out if you're eligible to receive benefits, compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates, view spousal benefit estimates, and more. Plan for your future. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Envy's evolution is the Envy McKee Show.
I think what you're trying to ask is, why am I so insistent? My job is to somehow make them curious enough or persuade them by hook or crook to get more aware of themselves and where they came from and what they are into and what is already there, and just to bring it out. This is what compels me to compel them, and I will do it by whatever means necessary.
On WURDradio.com.
Daddy now, love me good. Oh, Daddy, love me good, yeah. Oh, Daddy, love me good, yeah. Oh, Daddy, love me good.
This is WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Black Talk Media.
WURD TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now.
Tune in on YouTube at onWURD.
Or on Facebook at ForWord.
WURD TV.
Black Talk Media. Envy's evolution is the Envy McKee Show.
Hey, with Philly's own Kindred, the family soul.
Hey, what's up? This is Kevin Carr.
Hey, this is Lady Alma.
This is Greg.
And Halana.
And we are the Woke Bays.
Yo, what's up? This your boy Genuine right here on the Envy McKee Show. And I always stay tuned.
Join the Envolution exclusively on WURD.
Don't let it get over your head. All the blessings that he left in you. It wasn't no waste of time. You gotta just free the mind. Use it. Never abuse the mind you came with. Use it. Never abuse the mind you came with. 'Cause there is power. There's power in everything you speak in. Power in everything you speak in. Should you choose to see the true beauty in you, you would see that true.
Welcome back to the Anthony McKee Show. Anthony McKee, did you watch the Phoenix Mountain, no black man, Dr. Chimo?
We will all remain black.
Oh, Lord have mercy. So our shift prompt for this month is the art of being first cause. And it is a heady, ambitious shift prompt, but it is also, I feel like, vital work, especially we think about, we're in March, right? And March is the beginning of spring. Sometime at the end of this month, we'll be in spring. Daylight savings time is about to happen. Like, we're working into warm weather. People are already starting their gardens or thinking about them. You know, like, all of these things are in my awareness in a very poetic way. Like, I'm thinking of first cause as a seed or a blueprint. And when we talk about coming to the place of being able to build and birth a kind and just society, a world that works for everyone, we have to start somewhere. We have to, you know, sometimes, you know, having these heady goals, these heady, you know, ideas that we want to see manifest, sometimes we got to go back to, you know, the beginning and look at what already is and what, you know, where things started, just so we can understand where we want to go. And I think it's all connected, and I don't understand exactly, you know, I feel like, I'm just going to say this, reason. We may not fully grasp what that reason is yet, why we're talking in this way about this topic, but it's going to lead to something, because it always does. Like, we've been doing this show for nearly 2 years, maybe it's 2 years now, and listen, you know what I'm saying? So I want to read from The Body Is Not an Apology by Sonia Renee Taylor, which is interesting because in this book, I'm on page 17. I don't know which chapter we're on, but I'm on page 17, and she says this, which is very congruent, adjacent to what we've been talking about. Our best selves find the evisceration of other human beings repugnant. She said our best selves find the evisceration of other human beings repugnant. We feel shame when we are shamed. And when we allow ourselves, we feel shame for having shamed others. Feelings of shame suck. So what do? Stop shaming people? No. We distance ourselves from the guilt by couching our body judgment in the convenient container of choice. We say things like, hey, it's okay to judge them. They chose to be gay. You know you could lose weight if you wanted to. It's not my fault you're a guy dressing like a girl. The argument that people chose to be this way or the other is at its core an argument about difference and our inability to understand and make peace with difference. The notion of choice is a convenient scapegoat for our bias and bigotries. Logic says if people are choosing to be different, they can just as simply choose to be the way I believe they should be. What we must ask ourselves instead is, why do I need people to be the way I believe they should be? The argument about choice is a projection. There are endless things in the world we do not understand, and yet we live in a culture where we are expected to know and understand everything. Humans are rarely given permission to not understand without someone calling us failures or stupid. No one wants to feel like a stupid failure, and our brains have all sorts of nifty tricks to avoid those feelings. A particularly strategic maneuver is to decide that if we don't understand something, it must be wrong. After all, wrong is simpler than not knowing. Wrong means I am not stupid or failing. See all that sneaky, slimy projection happening there? Projection shields us from personal responsibility. It obscures our shame and confusion and places the onus for reconciling it. It obscures our shame and confusion and places the onus for reconciling it on the body of someone else. You don't have to work to understand something when it is someone else's fault, right? We don't have to undo the shame-based beliefs we were brought up with. We don't have to question our parents, friends, churches, synagogues, mosques, government, media. We don't have to challenge or be challenged. When we decide that people's bodies are wrong because we don't understand them, we are trying to avoid the discomfort of divesting from an entire body shame system. We do not. How do we fight the impetus to make the bodies we do not understand wrong? Three key tenets that will help pry us out of the mire of body judgment and shame. I call them the three pieces. That's P-E-A-C-E-S, pieces and peace and love. They are, number one, make peace without understanding. Number two, make peace with difference. And number three, make peace with your body. Thoughts? Sonya be getting it. She would like, she going right for the neck. You know what I'm saying? The mid-neck region is your whole mid-neck region just exposed the whole time. You like, woo, how do I talk? Agree or disagree? What are your thoughts?
I feel like I'm stepping on other people's. Like I don't feel like there's a right or wrong answer. Like I feel like it's some of this is based on geographical location, your tribe, what you were raised with, and I guess I'm uncomfortable going back this far. I guess I would like prefer here because I can't. And none of that. It's a very heavy feeling, and I don't feel like that's gonna propel me or help me create the community I want. None of that. Because like, I even go back to my mother, being on her deathbed, telling me that I was dead to her, and because I chose not to continue to be a Jehovah's Witness. But so get out of her room, and then she saw that I bought a papery card. You know those cards for Papyrus. Those cards like at $15. They're beautiful, and the others feels great. 3 months later, she calls me and she's like, "Oh my God, you're the greatest son. I read your card." And I was like, basically, I told her I've long forgiven her for her mental abuse and emotional abuse, and hope that she dies peacefully. I hope that, I don't want you to be in pain or anything, but this is our last conversation because I won't let you abuse me. So at that moment, which was about 8 years ago, I haven't ever looked back at that moment and said, but in this conversation, I'm going back to that. Then I got to go back to why she was the way she was, which is her father abused my grandmother, which is, I was like, my grandmother fled from North Carolina, from alcoholic. But then my cousin tells me about how his father he was the only one that stayed down there, and how it impacted his father and his. It's like literally.
Deep roots, baby.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm not able to push forward if I drag all that stuff with me. That's just me.
I don't know that this conversation is about packing on things. I think it's more about one of the things that we learn in our spiritual literacy classes is that our past they're teachers. There are moments in time, and I think it's related to the conversation that we're having, like the fact that it's so quick. Something in a word can spark a whole memory, loop cycle, and we look at those things, we look back, things that could be painful, things that could be joyful, whatever it is. But every time we still have those moments, they're in ourselves. Those memories are in us. I think they are coming up for us to reconcile them, not necessarily to drag them with us. You cannot fly with so many people's dead weight on your ankles. That is, something for sure. But I feel like, though, if that is coming up for you, then the question is, what is real? What is true? What is unfolding through this experience? Like, what is in this moment? Because remember, the crux of this show is, I am willing to see things differently. That's the crux of this show. I am willing to see things differently. So when you have those things, and listen, let me tell you something. Since I started taking these classes, you would think that every memory that I've ever had since the time of my birth was going to be top of mind in my awareness. And the only reason why I am not in a corner somewhere with my thumb in my mouth is because I have the spiritual tools at this juncture to look at those things from a strategic is the way to look at it, and say, what is real? Like, what are you here to show me? And so rather than suppress it, because a lot of times when we were little, something happened, it was trauma. We're grown adults, something happened, it was a trauma. We might have mourned it, we might have, grieved it, whatever it is. We think we put it away, but it comes up later, and now we're all, upset again. And so I feel like, and I think one of the teachings that comes up is like, when we have those moments, we can look at them from a standpoint of, if we get enough distance, if we can see them as a moment in time that was designed to teach us something, that things don't happen to us, they happen for us. And then we recognize that the people in our lives are master teachers. Like, we're all on Earth School. We're in Earth School, like this one big, like this planet is one university. It is kindergarten. For some people, it is nursery school, but it's one big classroom, And the people in our lives, our parents, our lovers, our friends, they're all lab partners. Some people are great lab partners. Some people are really, really good at sharing the load, of coming with great insights. When it's time for a group project, you know what I'm saying? They hold their weight. Some people suck at it. And just like in school, you can't all the time change your lab partners and get a one you like. What you learn, though, is how to manage people and how to manage your expectations around people without diminishing yourself. You say, like, when you have a crappy lab partner, you don't go, oh my God, I suck so bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't do that. And so I feel like, when we come to the place of radical acceptance, when we can just realize that the people in our lives are really lab partners, they're master teachers, they're here to teach us something. Even if, they're not having a good go of it, they're still teaching you something. And when you go back to your point, choice, we think in terms of who's to come down here to Earth School to learn this. We learn that. And so, the crux of this, again, is our willingness to see things differently. And so if you're looking at it from that lens, it's not about dragging people in. It's like it's watching a movie in class. That's what memories are. Watching a movie in class. And why would the teacher, the master teacher, give you this movie to watch in class? Because it's going to add a synthesis. It's adding an element of something that you need to learn. And a really great teacher is not teaching you what to learn. It's giving you information that you can learn what you want to learn, what you need, and let go of the rest. You know what I'm saying?
We have a couple comments on Facebook after Dr. Jima shares her point.
Okay.
I can yield. I don't
want you to yield, though.
No, we don't. Dean's first.
Oh, well, hey, hierarchy now. No.
And a caller on the line, too. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, awesome. So I'll be brief. I just wanted to, contribute to the question you raised earlier in terms of the passage you read from Sonia Renee Taylor's book. it's like an extension of what we were talking about earlier in terms of peace being a condition of knowledge, right? And to tie that into the analogy just used about we're on Earth School, right? We're in a classroom right now. Yeah. And like the curriculum really being aligned with the content and combine that with Sonia's, 3 pieces. It's just that every day we're practicing to be at peace, right? Because that is, and so if we think about essentially the art of being first cause, perhaps that is just the status of peace itself.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. And I feel like just like with the A Course in Miracles, the course states that, the curriculum is up to you. You're reading this, you go through it, you read, but the curriculum is up to you. And just because you choose the curriculum doesn't mean that you're not supposed to take it. It just means that you choose how you want to learn it. And I feel like that's how any good school is set up. You're saying we read 2 totally different texts, and they were both basically saying the same thing. You know what I mean? And so if we think of first cause from that term, the term of maybe peace is first cause. Maybe we're talking about people. Maybe instead of, contextualizing is Black women, everything, maybe the more powerful way to contextualize is the first cause of everything is peace, or the first cause of everything was the word, or whatever it is, however it makes sense for you to experience this work, to think things differently, to look at your world and say, this is not all there is. And what am I willing to become to be in a world that, that suits me?
Peaceful. Sorry, okay.
Peaceful. So let's put a pin. Oh, Eric, you wanted to tell us what we were seeing.
So we have 2 comments. One from Keith Harris. Just to add context to the conversation, it was about 12 minutes ago. So the creator is male, the earth is female. You can plainly see how things, is that spool or spawn from her? Sorry. God has planted the seed of life in man, just as the creator plants goodness in all creatures and created free will and evil for repentance and atonement. Okay. And then the other comment from Forrest Dixon, woo-woo crew, anti-blackness and black women being disrespected stems from the void of whiteness and the fear by whiteness of the power they perceive in black women. They fear what they cannot control or compromise. Most black women's conduct in world history has proven black women will sacrifice and die to advance the collective. They fear what they cannot compromise and control. And then Forrest Dixon came back, what is peace? Is it individual, or is it governed by individual or collective values?
That's a good question. Let's roll that around in our awareness that we can bring back when we come back. And we have a caller, you said?
Yes. Okay,
hold that thought. Make sure you tune in to The Plug on Tuesday at 8 p.m. during Safe Space, hosted by Sincerely Sarita. Listen on WURD Radio 96.1 FM, 900 AM, or wordtv.com. The Plug on WURD, brought to you by Comcast. Okay, Sarita, I feel you, girl. Okay, so we're going to go pay these bills. This is the Envy McKee Show right here on WURD 900 AM, 96.1 FM. We'll be back.
I went to check on Pop today. We put our hands up to the glass as if we were touching. But really, the only touching part was that we both tried to smile.
That's no way to say hello or goodbye. COVID-19 vaccines are here, but until enough of us are vaccinated, we'll all still need to help slow the spread. Keep a 6-foot distance, wear a mask, and avoid indoor social gatherings. Learn more about vaccines and slowing the spread at cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
COVID-19 has changed how we live and how we feel. But now there are vaccines, and they are the first step that lets us get back to the things we miss most, like spreading the word without spreading concern, girls tripping instead of solo sipping, and talking smack with a side of mac and cheese. It's okay to have questions about COVID-19 vaccines. Now, get the facts. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision when COVID-19 vaccines are available to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
WURD TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now.
Tune in on YouTube at onWURD
or on Facebook at ForWord.
WURD TV.
Black Talk Media.
You're listening to the Envy McKee Show.
In the WURD Metaphysical Studio. My name is Envy McKee. All these beautiful people are here to help us in our premiere First Friday show for our new ship prompt, which is the art of being first cause. And already, per usual, we've pulled some things apart and we've added some things. Like, I love these conversations. They're just so woo-woo. It just brings me so much joy. We have been reading from our woo-woo metaphysical book club book, The Body is Not an Apology by Renee Taylor. And I love how so beautifully it flows with A Course in Miracles, which is from Foundation of Inner Peace. I have the old school version of this book. This is Freeman's mom's book that I'm borrowing because my book is in storage. But like, I just love how these two very different texts are so like eloquently like intermarried in some way. But that's just the life of woo-woo, I guess. So we have been talking so far about peace. You know, the Course says that the crux of knowledge is peace. And if you look at the world, let's look at the world for a moment, and how unpeaceful it is, and how it seems like that could be true, right? Like, think about it. Think about the things that we argue about. Think about the places of the places of our discontent. Think about how visceral it seems like very basic things become. Like that we have this, basic humanity is up for debate. Basic human decency is up for debate. Where it seems like, we've made it about party and we made it about, drawing lines in the sand, but it's like we should be debating about an infrastructure we're going to be building. Are we using solar or wind? You know what I'm saying? It should not be, are we going to let you exist as yourself, or are we going to create more laws to keep you from being able to do that? With the question about whether or not women should be able to, have reproductive rights should not be a conversation on the table. And yet it is. And still, there's no peace in our conversation because, as the Course also says, we do not know who we are. And so part of what we're talking about when we talk about first cause is maybe as we are deciding that we're going to build and birth this kind and just society, a world that works for everyone, maybe first cause in that is asking different questions. Who am I? Why am I here? Who am I? How many of us have really asked that question with sincerity and earnestness? Who am I? I don't mean the part of who you are, or the part of who you are that told you, why am I here? So as a thought wave, as we go into this, we have a caller. So let's talk to he or she. Welcome to the Anthony McKee Show.
What's going on, Spread Love?
Oh, Spread Love. How are you, Spread Love?
How y'all making out?
Good, brother. Good.
Good. Thank you for calling. How are you?
Yeah, give God the glory. Give thanks for your show, Empress Envy. Glad to hear you well. Pray the family you all right. As always, God bless our brother Eric Nixon, DJ Frosty Phoenix on the boards, doing an exemplary job. You know, I always enjoy your name, my brother, Frosty Phoenix. Some may consider it a moron, but if you're hip, listen to me for a second. The brother's so cool, he give you frostburn. I did that.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
All right. Get the brass tacks. Is that my brother Mark over there? I'm sorry if I got your name wrong.
Yeah, his name is Mark. Mark the Shamer. His name is Martin. His name is Martin.
His name is Martin. I was very confused about what's happening on this show.
And Dr. Gina. And all the
Dr.
Ajima.
Ooh, Dr. Gina. Dr. Ajima.
Gina!
Been off though.
Dr. Ajima.
I apologize, Dr. Ajima. Please, I apologize.
It's all good.
You know I'm black. I'm going to pronounce stuff wrong. Let me start talking about some Dungeness crabs and scrimps.
Okay.
All right? But listen, let me share this with y'all real quick. And I'm sorry I've been tuning in and out of my life, not just the show. So I missed some parts of y'all hit on it. But I'm going to start with this one. Number one, masculinity. I look at it like this. We have, of course, our Father who art in Zion, who is love. Not destructive, creative. Who sent his son, John Christ. Masculine, the epitome of what it is to be a man. Who is love. Ain't lift a finger against nobody, but told them the truth about themselves. And that's what drove them crazy. And then you have the pure majesty, Emperor King Ali Selassie Ajah, Rastafari, Empress Manet, who is love, personified. So I don't know, I can't really go on with that. The male is the violent aggressor in that situation. I would say that the problem we face in this world right now is we don't have men and women. We have a plethora of male and female, which goes back to technology. Baby, we humans, we ain't machines. We humans, we ain't machines. Technology is something you can make. Humans were created. And when we make love, we create other humans. That's not technology. That's love. You feel me? That's my 2 cents on it. You can press buttons on a machine. You don't want to press buttons on human beings. And now I'll put it to you this way with this. As far as whiteness and blackness, from my historical research, having been made aware from third hand, not first hand, I wasn't there, I didn't see this with my own eyes, but this is stuff I was made aware of. It was the Arabs that taught Europeans how to be racist. Because the Arabs had, you know, the incursion with the Moors into Europe when we civilized the Europeans, what they call the Dark Ages before the Renaissance. You know what I'm talking about? When we went over Gibraltar, named after a black general, Tariq. Why they call it Gibraltar, it means Gibraltar, Tariq, as in the hill of Tariq. We went up there through Spain. We were invited in to kick out the Visigoths. Anyway, long story short, we set up all them universities in Spain that they got. We built all them castles in Europe that they got. All of them. All right.
Okay.
So now, wait, hold tight. So now, the Arabs was jealous. So they made the idea that the lighter you are, the better you is. You can do your own research on that. And that's way before the Europeans got on that train. Anyway, y'all can do your own research on that. But what I will say is this. As far as peace, thieves want peace, but do they want justice and righteousness? Now listen to this. Democracy can be 2 wolves and 1 sheep voting on what or who is for dinner. And you can get that one to Noam Chomsky. He told me that one. And there's a couple more. Empress, no offense, but the stuff you bring up is stuff that people have meditated on lifetimes, 4 lifetimes. Still realize they ain't got to figure it out. Matter of fact, the more they meditate on it, the more they meditate on it, the less they talk about it. Because you realize Those who know don't talk. And those who talk, more times than not, don't know. But I'll leave you with this couple. Here's some, as they say, fools rush in where the wise fear to tread. But I'll leave you with this, and y'all can gnaw on this for a couple of lifetimes. As far as what y'all talking about, always remember, just because you're a qualified mechanic, don't mean you're a competent surgeon, if you understand what I mean. Also, just because Stevie Wonder is a genius, you don't give him the steering wheel. You understand? Stevie Wonder is a genius, but you don't give him the steering wheel.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't give Stevie Wonder the steering wheel of a driving car. I do get what you're saying, is that you don't get driven by those that aren't able to visualize the road ahead of you, which could be spun into a couple of different lessons there too.
Okay.
So, yeah, thank you, Spread
so
Love.
much.
And we do have
Another
caller on the line.
Okay.
What's going on, caller? How we help you tonight?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. That was some good words coming from that brother. I appreciate that. But listen, I just want to bring this in right quick. I apologize if it's off the subject, but I just want to recognize and give recognition to old school, but Billie Holiday. Hulu has a program,
oh, yes.
You know, without a doubt, bro. You know what I'm saying? And let me say this. This kind of puts me in the frame, the mindset of Sam Cooke, you know, with this song, A Change Is Coming. Billie Holiday did, you know, the Strange Fruits, you know, and to see what that's the courage that sister had to endure. And the name of the segment or the movie is Billie Holiday versus the U.S. government. Talking about a beast and some wicked entity and what they had to done to us and our people, you know what I'm saying, and to have a sister to endure everything she did in order to speak up and to represent and to try to create unity amongst our own people and to stand up and fight for our people, a woman now. You know what I'm saying? And still to that point where even today we see our most vocal people and spokespeople are our black women. Where you like? Where you at, black man? You know what I'm saying? So the white man oppresses black people, and then the black man oppresses the black woman.
So Cliff, you're not counting yourself right now? You're not counting yourself right now, though?
Well, what do you mean? No, I'm going to uplift my sister, brother.
Right, no, but in speaking up for black men, and Martin and myself, you know.
But brother, here's the problem I'm having, even here in Connecticut, you know what I'm saying? Even with our churches.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying, bro? When I speak out, I'm taking a risk, but when I look back, there's more sisters, man, that are with me with demonstrating that courage. So I'm saying to the black man, even with your faith in God, and you say this every Sunday, fear God, not man, but from Monday to on Sunday, you're fearing God, you're claiming, you're preaching that, but from Monday to Saturday, you're fearing the white man. Stand up and be in your rightful place, black man. That's what we need. Thank you for taking my call, brother.
Thank you, Cliff. Appreciate that.
Listen.
It goes back at it. It goes back to the conversation about blackness as a
technology.
Yeah, and the power of women. Yeah.
Yeah.
Women's history month.
I liked Spread Love's when he said that machines are the ones, you know, you press a button on a machine, but you wouldn't press a button on a human. And what we were saying, we weren't necessarily saying our peoplehood was technology. We were saying the blackness was the technology.
Yeah, what we wield, the blackness. Yeah.
That's right. We were saying that whiteness was created. Like whiteness, we weren't talking about the people. We were talking about the social structure of whiteness, the caste system of whiteness was a technology used that, you know, whiteness didn't create blackness. Black people created blackness as a reaction to whiteness as a technology being created as an oppressive system. So blackness is a system, whiteness is a system, and within the system of blackness is culture and art and music and all of those things.
Expressions,
so blackness is what we were talking about. That's right. Blackness is what we were talking about as the technology.
Facebook comment section is blowing up. So we got Malcolm White. I'm taking all this in. Keith Harris is through miseducation, ignorance, and chemical/drugs, alcohol. It is all alters the mind, and that's why violence is prevailing in the black community, which is like a segment to the manipulation of black people that cannot use their blackness as a technology by being disillusioned by the things that have been poured into our technology, into our communities. to not be able to wield that technology.
I want you to play the drinking song. I have to find it first.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So where do we want to go now with this conversation? I want to say that. So based on what we've heard, what we've listened to, and what I've read, and how we've been talking so far in this conversation, First Cause, what are your thoughts about where we are right now?
That life is always school. I think there are so many different lessons from it. Go ahead, Doc.
No. I mean, yeah, I think Eric's right. Life is always school. This is a journey, right? And I want to touch on. At first, I want to give credit to Spread Love's point about masculinity. That it's also about creativity and love. And I think that's important that we don't set up dichotomies when we use these terms, but to be sort of more inclusive and embracing the varieties and ways of the different technologies, if you will, that we can employ could be used for both good and bad. So I want to appreciate him for that. But I think where I want to go with this conversation is I think a question that Keith on Facebook mentioned, like, what is peace? Is it collective or individual? And then to his last point there about essentially it's that we're not the sort of the unpeaceful reality that we see in the Black community is a reflection of people being distracted, everything that he mentioned, and that essentially the will is there for us, right? But it's just a matter of like, how do you get back to essentially this point of the art of being first cause? For me, it just comes back full circle. And maybe this is getting into what you're going to discuss next week with Jason, right?
No, Jason is fourth Friday.
Yeah.
Friday. So maybe I'm thinking.
Dr. Carol Penn is next week.
So I'm thinking ahead to third Friday, but in terms of if peace is something that that essentially we're always striving for, that to Eric's point, this is the school of what we're doing.
This is also radio though too, so we'll give you a chance. We'll give you a chance. I'm just filling in the silence. It's brought to you by the Free Library of Philadelphia.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna hand over the baton.
No.
You want to just take a moment there to think about it? We can go to break, and then you can come back, collect your thoughts for about a minute or two. Envy.
Martin's been awfully quiet.
He has been.
Yeah, that's
he's at peace. He is at peace.
He's at peace. At peace.
Yeah, I mean, this is a deep
conversation. It is. You're welcome. Nice and heady. I'm gonna find this song. Free your mind.
Sally, one more comment though from Facebook. Keith said he disagrees. Women are raising most of the young people in the, it says trug culture, T-R-U-G. I don't know if Keith means the drug culture.
Oh, he disagrees with my point about masculinity being creative and.
Well, it's saying disagree. Women are raising most of the young people in the drug culture.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting. And why? Why are women raising most of the people? Because children don't come by themselves. So I'm not sure if that was supposed to be like, well, it's women's fault. I don't know if that's what that's supposed to be. But I know for sure that there are two cells that come from two different bodies in order to make a child.
Yeah.
So.
There was a funny video I saw on social media that was saying, what the young man was doing. Well, the man was doing a video where he mimicked the parents saying you have to appreciate something, and he switched the script and said, "Why? Why do I have to appreciate things you gave me? You brought me here. Isn't that your job?"
Yeah, right. right.
Yeah.
Listen, and so. With that, I'm glad that he said that, because I'm going to continue to read from Sonia Renee Taylor's book. But really, normally what happens during this time, when we come back from break, we're going to go around the room and find out what we learned. So that's where we can go with this particular conversation, but I am still going to read a little piece kind of as a cap up, right?
Yeah.
This is the Envy McKee Show. I'm Envy McKee, DJ Frosty Phoenix, Martin the Black Man. We got Dr. Ajima in the WURD Metaphysical Studio. This is WURD, 900 AM, 96.1 FM, Will Be Black.
The COVID-19 crisis has made it difficult for many students to get online. Over the last 10 years, Comcast has been dedicated to advancing digital equity and closing the digital divide. Now, they are working with their network of nonprofit partners and city leaders to create more than 1,000 Wi-Fi connected lift zones in community centers nationwide. Because students and their families need safe spaces to get online and access the resources they need to succeed in a digital world. Learn more at comcast.com/education.
Want the latest in word swag?
Check out the shop tab on WURDradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WURDradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black.
Talk media.
WURD TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now.
Tune in on YouTube at onWURD
or on Facebook at ForWord.
WURD TV.
Black Talk Media.
You're listening to the Envy McKee Show.
Welcome back to the Envy McKee Show.
Welcome back to the. I'm here.
Are
I'm
you?
Here.
You
Welcome
sure? I was watching you. You weren't moving.
She's here. Because she's black.
Welcome
Where
back.
she gonna go? Put on Black Radio.
I found the song, but it doesn't, never mind.
So
So this is the part of the show where we go around the room. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to tell you. So this is the part of the show where we go around the room and we find out what we learned. Yay.
What? I'm confused.
All right, so did you want everything, the things that we learned, or do you have something that you're going into right now? Because we're also like, we're also about 4 minutes early for that.
Envy what she learns.
Oh.
She never goes first.
No,
She never
because
goes
I found
first.
the song. I never go first, and I'm not going to go first because this is my show, okay? So calm down.
Hierarchy.
That's your thing.
Ever,
That's your
as
thing
long
tonight.
as
What's
you
up with
are
your?
black.
What's up with that with you tonight with hierarchy?
I just like to play that.
I know, right? Well, as we're unpacking it,
You're right.
like I'm about to, think of it this way. I'm about to go on a fast, and so I need to eat all the cheese. Because you're not allowed to have cheese on your fast. You know, you're not allowed to have, you're about to go on a fast. Like, by the way, 40 days and 40 nights so I can be great is about to go down next month during Ramadan. So I'm sitting here mentally preparing because I'll be doing 40 days of juicing. So I'm sitting here thinking of all the things I want to eat before I get to April 13th.
Okay.
And if y'all are watching on the Facebook Live, did y'all see the disgust on Martin's face? Like the pure, unadulterated
Talking about eating
disgust.
cheese in March for April. I'm like, nah, sis, we're not gonna let you do that. That's just gonna destroy your heart.
First of all, you don't even sound like you make sense to me. If I know that in April I'm not gonna be able to have anything that I want to eat, and I know for 40 days from that point I'll be doing just plain old juice, I'm eating all the cheese. I don't really eat cheese like that.
That ain't just it. Like, yeah, it's like, Now, if you said you was eating a whole bunch of vegan cheese, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I can see that.
Okay, so I want to read this really quick because now that we're running out of time. It's called, the subchapter is called Peace with Your Body. Lastly, you must make peace with your body. I have been talking all kumbaya and collective in the first two pieces, but this one is all on you, love. Your body is the body it is. Your belief that your body should be some other body other than the body it is likely a reflection of your struggles with the first two pieces. As I said at the beginning of the book, you did not come to the planet hating your body. What if you accepted the fact that much of how you view your body and your judgments of it are learned things, messages you have deeply internalized that have created an adversarial relationship? Hating your body is like finding a person you despise and then choosing to spend the rest of your life with them while loathing every moment of the partnership. I know that lots of humans stay in loveless commitments. Not only am I proposing that you should not stay in a loveless partnership, I am also proposing that your partner has been set up. If your body were an episode of Law and Order Special Victims Unit, it would be getting framed for crimes it did not commit. Out of the damn television show and into living in peace and harmony with the body you have. Your body need not be a prison sentence. And if you are living in it as such, I'm glad you picked up this book. As they say in the tradition of 12-step programs, you are in the right place. I'm not simply proposing that you make peace with your body because your body shame is making you miserable. I'm proposing you do it because it's making us miserable too. Your children are sad that they have no photos with you. Your teenager is wondering if they do too, will be obligated to hate their body because they see you hating yours. The bodies you share space with are afraid you are judging them with the same venom they have watched you use to judge yourself. Remember that body shame is as contagious as radical self-love. Making peace with your body is a mighty act of revolution. It is your contribution to a changed planet where we might all live unapologetically in the bodies we have. And so with that, we really should have been the final thought. But we can go around the room, right? And see what we've learned.
Starting with MBD.
Well, I did mine. Starting with Eric or Martin or Dr. Jima.
All right, I'll go. So I learned that there wasn't. This topic is harder to decipher and understand than the shift prompt or than the STAR syllabus that we received today in email. If you went to just saying, I'm as stumped as y'all are, so
oh god,
it is what it is. Come back next week and see if we can unstump ourselves, y'all. I'm with you.
Amazing.
That is so funny. Well, you know what, Martin? Maybe you don't need to be in AP classes. Maybe you need to be in the basic rudimentary class.
So this semester, nobody told me. This is going to be on a damn syllabus. I ain't prepared for this. So
I'm one of them teachers. I tell you what we're going to think we're going to.
Like, can we get a TA to teach this, please? Because, like, you working on your PhD. Like, go work your dissertation. Like, leave us alone with the TA.
What about you, Eric? And Martin looked mad, too. You see him? He's, like, disgusted. He's like, I didn't sign up for this. What about you, Eric?
Life is constant school, and there's always a new lesson plan.
Oh, you kiss ass.
No, what? How am I doing that?
Life is this good.
I'm not even talking about, bro. You know what? Now, you know what? This is that scenario in class where you over here where you say life is always ongoing lessons and everything else. And Martin in the back talking about, yo, you over here, you brown noser. And it's like, let me tell you, sir. The overall conversation.
I will get an A before you. I'm going to get a job, and you'll still be working at the car wash.
I basically summarized what you said, that life is always a consistent school. It's hard to even bring together everything that was said tonight, as far as blackness as a technology. I got blackness as a technology. Women are on the forefront of the conversations. Still trying to process the spiritual path of 2021 so far.
The best student class is stumbling.
I know I wasn't the best student. I'm the kid that just does his homework. I don't do nothing.
That was a blue. That was a
Let's
blue
get
moment.
the A student. Let's get Miss Ajima in this.
Yo, yeah, for real.
No, I think I probably failed today's class, but
It makes me think of this joke I saw where someone was crying online, another video, where someone was like, "Oh, the high student said, what you crying for?" He's like, "I got a 90."
Yes, Dr. G.
I got a 90.
Actually, there's greater lessons to be learned in the failures in the 90 than the 100.
Yes, come on, Dr. Jima. Come through with that 91.
Thank you, Amar said.
I'm gonna aim for 80% here, but what I always try to do with the shift prompts is like I attempt to answer it for myself so that I can take the lessons with me until our next session. And so thinking back about the art of being first cause, MV mentioned that this is sort of a blueprint, and that's like a blueprint for ... And I think for me, it goes back to what you read from the Course of Miracles, which dovetails with Sonia Renee Taylor's piece, and I think also our conversation in between about Blackness as a technology as transformative, pulling from what you talked about last week. And so in answering, the art of being first cause, for me, it's a blueprint for obviously first peace, then freedom and knowledge, right? And so not to say that that's linear, but those are elements for which we can meditate on, going back to Eric's point, because we're always going to be in school about this. Should I say finish it? Because there's going to be challenges every single day of your life. So it's,
yeah.
That's what I pulled away from today's conversation. And I'm sorry, Keith, I wanted to answer your question about is peace collective or individual? I think it's interactive, so I'll start there.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that, and I feel like that's a great direction, focusing on peace, because peace came up 1,000 times in today's conversation. Like, peace as being kind of a foundational thing. And if we're looking at a world that isn't peaceful, how do we uncover to a place where we can have that? So if there's one foundational thing that I learned from today's show is how important peace is. You know what I'm saying? Like how big of a peace, P-I-E-C-E, that's all right? How big of a peace, P-E-A-C-E is. And so the three pieces, I really want to meditate on more. I really want to make peace with not understanding, make peace with difference, and make peace with your body. Even though these are things I think I do all the time. I like that. I'm going to make some peace out of peace. But I want to read as my final thought. I want to read the part of the Course in Miracles that we didn't read, just as a cap up. Your past learning must have taught you the wrong things, simply because it is not. On this basis alone, its value should be questioned. If learning aims at change, and that is always its purpose, are you satisfied with the changes your learning has brought you? Dissatisfaction with learning outcomes is a sign of learning failure, since it means that you did not get what you want. The curriculum of atonement is the opposite of the curriculum you have established for yourself, but so is its outcome. If the outcome of yours has made you unhappy, and if you want a different one, a change in the curriculum is obviously necessary. The first change to be introduced is a change in direction. A meaningful curriculum cannot be inconsistent. If it is planned by two teachers, each believing in diametrically opposed ideas, it cannot be integrated. If it is carried out by these two teachers simultaneously, each one merely interferes with the other. This leads to fluctuation, but not to change. The volatile have no direction. They cannot choose one because they cannot relinquish the other, even if it does not exist. Their conflict curriculum teaches them that all directions exist and gives them no rationale for choice. The total senselessness of such a curriculum must be fully recognized before a real change in direction becomes possible. You cannot learn simultaneously from two teachers who are in total disagreement about everything. Their joint curriculum presents an impossible learning task. They are teaching you entirely different things in entirely different ways, which might be possible, except that both are teaching you about yourself. Your reality is unaffected by both, but if you listen to both, your mind will be split about what your reality is. And I think we just learned what the first cause of separation is right there. Take that as a moment of a breath. Take that as a moment of a breath. Go on, breathe that in. Martin's face looks so disgusted. Like, I cannot.
He's just class to end.
Like, he is not here.
No, my brain is hurting. Like, I'm not waiting for class to end. It's just, I'm trying to get how to get the heck out of stuff on my brain, or try to make sense of it. So, you know.
Ooh, you did all the things in class, but that just means that you learned something. Something is shifting, and so I bless your shift. And so I think with that, okay, star people, like that's class. Okay. Thank you to all of you for being present. If you learned something powerful here, don't keep it to yourself. Tell folk about this show. And next week, bring 3 friends. The world is held together by our agreements and our conversations about those agreements. If you want to live in a different world, we have to talk about things differently. Okay? As Dr. Beckwith is known to say, the second coming is community. Thank you to our guest stars, Alicia Perkins in the building. We got to give her a D name because I want her back. We got everybody gets a D name. We got Dr. Jima in the building. Thank you, Dr. Jima. Of course, DJ Frosty Phoenix on the 1s and 2s. Martin the Black Man. Thank you, of course, for being present. You add the juice to this show, and so we love you. Even though your brain hurts, Martin, I feel like when you sleep on it, when you come back to the class next week, you'll have fresh ideas. Ooh,
we're gonna get a whole text. We're gonna get a whole text like, "I got it," and be like, "Oh yeah."
Nah, not this week. Not this weekend. Like, maybe
sign up for free weekly updates that include stars notes from the Woo Metaphysical Studio and whatnot over there at envymckeyshow.com. Okay, Freedom Sounds of Jazz is up next. Levine House, star people.
Levine Osho Envy.
Yeah. Levine Osho Envy.
Knights of the Grinch over there.
Next week. See you next week. Peace.
Bye.
It's funny.
Okay, Her's new fire potato chips and cheese curls, they